UFC 327 is coming in hot. We got the PFL challenging the UFC at the same time. That's huge for them. I don't know if it's smart, but it is huge. They're standing on business doing this. This is very, very, it's very, very strange that they would decide to do this during negotiations for a new TV's rights deal, but they just probably want to see where they're at. What do you think? My man, John Morgan, Tuesday Night Lives. That's what we're calling this. John Morgan and the Punk. I don't know if I want to call myself the Punk. I'm 48 years old, man. What are we doing these days? But again, I'm out here starting fights. John Morgan, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, bro. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. First, let's just say if there's ever a good use of AI, I mean, it was that graphic that opened things up right there, right? I mean, there's AI slop out there, and then there's just absolute AI gold, and that was beautiful. And yes, normally I would say at your age, you shouldn't necessarily need to go by the Punk, but I see you out there in the streets trying to make these fights come together. I see these headlines. We just talked about last week, Josh. We're gonna be kinder. We're gonna be more positive. We're gonna be putting good energy into the world. And then there's the headlines coming out.
You know as well as I know, man, it's hard to take the fighter out of us. Us true OG dog fighters, old school guys, we didn't do it for the money. You know, I mean, like, I'm not out there suing dudes in the street, right? They come in, you know, and when they say it's on site, it means it's on site. But like, I have nothing but respect for Nate. I got nothing but respect, especially for his brother. We came up on the same cards together, everything like that. We're from the same area, man. But you brought me up, and, you know, the conversation, I brought you up a bunch of times because we were talking about fights, and it is what it is, man. But I mean, I got another one. I got another quote tomorrow I'm dropping as well. So look, there's a lot out there. Like I said, man, if you want the fight, you have your people call my people. They got the number. They've been chatting before. We got it going. There's no reason to hide around it. So look, I talked enough about Nate yesterday. If you guys haven't seen the clip, I dropped it yesterday, and you guys can check it out and go from there. It's on the YouTube, it's on the Wayne In YouTube channel. So outside of that, man, I'm looking forward to this show right now. UFC 327. I would say on paper, it's probably the best card of the year.
Ooh, I love that you're starting with that, because I was just going to get your take on this, because here's what I'm thinking about this card, Josh, is a casual fan or whatever might just take a quick look at it and say, oh, I don't know, it's not that good. But when you look at the matchups themselves on paper, the storylines, how closely contested they are, what it means for everybody in there, I really, really like this card, and it really got me thinking about it a little bit. You know, sometimes when we sit back and we talk about, is this a good card? Is this not a good card? Are we really looking at the same things? And I feel like sometimes it's only like, hey, is Conor McGregor on there, or is Ilia Topuria on there? And if so, it's a good card. And if not, it's not. This, to me, is a really, really good card. So I love that you're coming out of the gates saying it's the best card of the year.
This is what we do, man. We're nerds this way. We love these fight cards. And I got to be honest, man, I think people are underestimating Carlos Ulberg, and I think the expectation is Yuri's going to come out. He's going to just kind of baffle him with his movement. He's going to like catch him slipping. And as the fight goes on, he's going to take down, control Ulberg on the ground. Fight's going to slip away from him. All of these things. But at the end of the day, Yuri Prachazka has not gotten any better since being in the UFC. He's still the same really unorthodox style guy. Not much has changed, except he's been knocked out a couple times. That's it. Like you have to find if Ulberg is just patient with him in front of him and he starts to pick and choose his shots, I think he has success. Because let's not pretend like Yuri's some great wrestler. He's not an All-American. He doesn't come from a wrestling background. He only got takedowns against Glover Teixeira as the fight went on and got tired. You know, Glover at the time was 41, 42 years old, I think 41 years old. And he was struggling to get him down at times as well. So let's not try to paint this picture like he's some great wrestler and go out there and just dominate Carlos Ulberg on the ground.
No, that's what's so interesting about this matchup, right? There's a couple of things going on here, and you laid it out there. Yuri Prochazka, his strength is also his weakness in that chaos, right? You know what I mean? It goes both ways, so you really have to be careful with it. It makes him tough to prepare for. It makes him tough to read, but it also leaves him open to a lot of counters, especially against somebody who's just going to be more traditional, who's just going to be in the pocket, who's going to stay right there. So that part of it's really interesting to me. And the other part of it that's interesting for me is this, Josh. I'll be honest with you. You know, you talk about people underestimating Carlos Ulberg. I don't underestimate him in this matchup, but I'll be honest, I think I've underestimated him every step along the way. I didn't necessarily look at Carlos Ulberg and say, that's a future champion. I feel like, you know, that's one of the things we all kind of pride ourselves in is seeing developing talent and being like, oh, I saw that spark. The first time I saw Khabib, it's like, that dude's going to be a champ one day. There's guys that you see right away. Carlos Ulberg, I don't know that I necessarily saw it, but when I see this matchup lines up perfectly for him to potentially be a UFC champion.
Hey, I'm going to throw this out there only because I thought it was kind of funny when he was said back in the day, John Morgan, Colby still wants you to do those 10 push-ups. What a jerk. Oh man. Hybrid, catastrophe. Bro, what?
It'll never go away.
It'll never
ever go away.
That's hey, look. That's great.
That was a whole funny situation because I actually had a really good relationship with Colby, man. I liked Colby a lot. Colby behind the sines is, I haven't talked to him in years, but behind the scenes was always incredibly professional, showed up to interviews on time, super friendly. He was kind of like Chael. He'd have his coffee in hand, kind of hang out, show up on time early. And then the whole press conference thing happened between me and Colby. And if you go back and watch the tape, I just laughed because I was like, well, I guess today's my day. Like everybody's getting it one day.
Out here catching strays.
Yeah, I'm like, it's my day to catch the strays. And then he just kept going with it. And I was like, well, this isn't, I'm not going to keep asking questions if you're just going to do this every time. This isn't entertaining to me, Yeah,
and I also want some information out of you. That's why I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Like as a media face, you want to get real answers, not just and I think that was some of the hard part with Chael, right? It got so bit, it became such a bit that you couldn't get real answers out of him.
Absolutely.
So how, especially when he lost to Anderson. Yeah, I thought, I just tapped and we just restarted from where we were at. You're just like, what the
It is. I tell that line, while it's goofy as hell on the night, holds up so well. When you go back and see that thing, it's like just the way he delivered it and the way that he had that on the spot, unbelievable. Chael was great, but you're right. You do want real answers. Another one. Roy Nelson was a guy like that. Sometimes it would just only give these kind of jokey answers and whatever, and you're like, okay, the shtick is funny, but we're also trying to get, we're trying to write some stories. And it's not really the case anymore. Hardly anybody writes stories anymore. But back in the day, press conferences were actually for us to try to collect quotes that we could build stories around,
Yeah, look, really and this is not a knock on MMA media. Just the thing is it really has just become regurgitation of what the UFC puts out. That's it. Right. You're taking whatever data tells you, whatever the UFC puts out, whatever fights, and they just talk about the fights. We're no different than all the other media sources, a podcast and everything else. The only thing we can do is add a little bit more flair. And John, that's a big reason why you and I jumped on here and started doing Tuesday Night Lives. You have a flair and insight that I can't get from somebody else, and I've got the fighter take and still a little bit of a punk. So I got a little bit of that as well, and we're out here to have some fun on our Tuesday Night Live. So if you guys don't know yet, Tuesday night, become a member also too on the Wayne In podcast, Tuesday Night Lives, 7:30 p.m., 8:30 Eastern time. We'll be doing this show together Tuesday nights. It's going to be a great time, man. We're gonna have some fun. And John and I, before we started talking about doing the show, we talked about we'll talk about everything. And when Big John and I started the show, I said, I want to talk about as many promotions as possible. I want to build up as many promotions as possible. I want to keep that going because as other promotions grow and fighters get talked about in other organizations, it helps the brand, it helps the sport. Because I think we're stuck right now, and I know a lot of media guys are talking about the business of the UFC, but I want to get back into talking about the fighters. I want to get back into talking about the matchups. And I think the fight, like this fight card is not getting the love it deserves. That's why I said I really believe it's probably the best fight card of the year on paper. That doesn't mean it's going to deliver. We'll see how the fighters end up coming out on top. But Yuri Prachazka and Carlos Ulberg, there's a little bit of a back and forth style. Can Ulberg get to his chin before Yuri catches him with some sort of spinning kick or some funky transition and stand up, get him rocked and maybe get to the top position and control him and hold him down and start to make him tired? Because we haven't seen Ulberg go to the 5th round or 4th round yet. What can he do in those championship rounds? We know Yuri can do it. He's been there a couple times.
That's the big question for me is, especially early. I would think for Carlos Ulberg, you want to try to be effective early if you can, because it is some question marks. And again, you know that Yuri Prochazka is going to be coming forward. It's not like you're going to have to chase him down and try to track him down because he's just showing movement and staying away from you. He's going to be in there and he's going to be an opportunity to attack. And again, just being ready for the unpredictability of it, understanding that, you've got to watch out for crazy angles and unexpected movements, but just stay firm and aggressive in what you do, work that jab. And again, the way this thing sets up, man, I'm really, really intrigued by it. I think Carlos Ulberg has a really, really good chance of winning this fight.
Hey Dave, can you pull up what the odds are on this fight? What are we looking at? Are we looking at Yuri as like a 2-1 favorite? Possibly even more than a 2-1 favorite, or is it Ulberg? I think it's a 2-1 favorite probably for a Yuri, if I was to take a guess. It's so small I can't see.
Yeah, you can't see it. Okay, here, let me zoom in for you.
Yeah,
So for Yuri, it's 125 to minus 125 to 142, and then Ulberg is plus 100 to 1 plus.
So it's closer than it's not quite 2-1. Still,
and look,
but still, go ahead.
I mean, look, statistically, I mean, obviously stats don't necessarily mean anything in a fight, but I always think they're kind of fun to look at just to see. Statistically, Ulberg actually lands more per minute than Prachazka does, even if we think about what a great striker Prachazka is, how powerful Wild he is, but Ulberg actually lands more. He actually has better defense as well. So, again, stylistically, I like this fight a lot. You know, again, the only negative thing that you can say about the fight is the fact that the reason they're competing for the title is because the champion left the title behind. And that's always unfortunate when that's the situation, but that's the reality. They're still fighting for a UFC title. It's still the biggest fight of their career. It still has a huge financial impact on them as well. And of course, then they have an opportunity to really build their legacy. So this is a good fight. This is a really good fight.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great fight, man. It really just comes down to whether Carlos can keep his back off the fence as well as keep his back off the canvas. I think those two things, if he can do that, I think he's going to give Yuri some problems. So he's got to do a little bit of what Corey Sandhagen was trying to do against Umar Nurmagomedov. He's got to stick and move, but not be so much on his bike where he gets tired by round 3. And he's got to just, be patient, let the fight come to him. Yuri, like you said, Yuri's going to be right in his face. Yuri's going to be trying to throw some really funky stuff. He just got to not get caught with any of that funky stuff, but also not just put his guard up and block to where he opens up his waistline and his legs for him to be taken down. There's this weird style that Yuri has where he'll strike off of his transitions and his movement, but he'll also try to like dive for the legs. And when he dives for the legs, they're shitty ass takedowns. But if your hands are way up here, they're very effective because he's got you thinking about so many things. That's what makes it very dangerous. He gives me a little bit of a flashback of like just a lot bigger Dominic Cruz. But Dom was a very skillful wrestler, by the way. Like he was just a phenomenal athlete. But Yuri, it doesn't have that, but he also, too, his timing is impeccable when it comes to actually lowering the level and getting in on the body.
That's it. It's just the fact that he will change angles at any point. He'll attack. You don't know exactly where the attack's coming from. And again, he'll do things that are crazy unorthodox that you wouldn't normally recommend, you wouldn't normally expect, because he'll put himself out of position if he thinks that there's an attack there that's worth it. He'll take it. But Ulberg being so kind of compact in the way he attacks, just very traditional, nice use of the jab. But I think you're spot on, right? You got to counterattack off those misses. You got to see those misses. You got to see those openings, and you got to counterattack. The one thing that really freaks me out about this, it just doesn't seem right, is that Yuri's actually the younger guy in the matchup. Like, that seems weird.
I didn't know that.
As long as he's been around. Yeah, two years younger. So not a massive difference, but as long as he's been around, it seems weird that Carlos is the older guy. I mean, a star in Yuri Prochazka, Carlos Ulberg, marketable as hell as well. I mean, this is no bad option here for the UFC, whoever comes out of this one.
No, not at all. You got Murzakanov versus Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa making his jump from 185 to 205. And Murzakanov obviously is undefeated. I believe 16-0 is where Murzakanov is at. How do you see this fight happening?
Man, first of all, Paulo Costa is just impossible for me to get a read on. I feel like on nights I expect him to be a killer, he comes out flat. On nights I expect him to be flat, he comes out a killer. I think I like the fact that he's at 205. I mean, The dude is absolutely jacked, right? So, I mean, the cut down, not having to worry about that, I think that's solid. But this Murzakanov dude is an absolute killer. And this is not an easy fight for Costa going up. This is a very, very tough assignment. And on a big night for the light heavyweight division, I think Murzakanov is maybe somebody that's flown a little bit under the radar, which seems crazy at 16-0. But there's just been, I think there's been so much focus on the very top of the division, and where's Pajeda going to go, and what's John Jones' involvement, and et cetera, that maybe there hasn't been focus. I think this is a real breakout opportunity for Murzakanov. I think he's that dangerous. But again, I have a hard time getting a read on Paul because I just feel like I never know what guy's going to show up on fight night.
Yeah, you're going to get the wine drinking one, or you're going to get the one that fought Yoel Romero to a fucking fantastic fight. You don't know which one, and it's very hard. If I'm a betting guy, stay away from Paulo Costa.
Yes. That's
just one thing I do. I'm just like, nah, I'm not into it. This is not what I'm doing. Just from a fighter point of view, and also too, I'm sure from the media's point of view, someone like yourself is thinking like, if I'm a betting man, I'm keeping away from Paulo Costa because you don't know which one's going to show up. Like I said, the one that drinks wine or the one that actually shows up to fight, like Yoel Romero. I think in this situation, though, him going to 205, one of two things. This is another reason why it's hard to get a read. He's going to be very well hydrated. He'll fill his body out. He's going to be explosive. He'll have cardio in round 3. Or is it a lazy reason for him to go up? He's like, I look good. I feel good. You know, I got all this energy. Is he going to be the Islam Makhachev where he's like, I'm never going back to 55. I feel so great at 70. And he fills out his body legit. And now we see the best version of him, which I've always felt like we wouldn't get the best version of Islam until he got to 70 because he walks around 85, 88. But now we've seen that. I feel like we could get the same thing out of Paulo Costa. Is like, hey, once he is now established at this weight class at 205, you know, it doesn't take him much to put the weight on. He's already probably walking at 210, 205, somewhere in there, out of camp. I think that he actually gives Murzakanov his first loss. If we get the one that fought Yoel Romero, if we get that guy, the one that throws punches, sits down and just scraps, wrestles a little bit, as well as throws the strikes, I think we might get that guy. If he kicks a little bit, he's got power. He's fast. He's explosive. And the one thing at 205 we're lacking, Murzakanov is not a super explosive guy. He's got power, you know, and he's in the mix. He's undefeated. Doesn't want to lose his O. But Paulo Costa is just a different. He's got that secret juice, and man, it works for him when he's ready to use it.
Josh, that fight with Yoel Romero was in 2019. I mean, you know, so but you are right. If it's that guy, if it's
second row,
that guy can be anybody on the planet. That guy can be anybody on the planet. So if you tell me for sure, I know that's the guy that's showing up, but I just the inconsistencies, the results, I don't know, man. I just think that this guy is a different animal than Roman Kopylov. No disrespect to Kopylov. I think Murzakanov is kind of a level up from there, and I like him in this fight. But I'd love to see Paulo Costa at 100% because I think that guy's good for the sport, man. You talk about just marketability and fun. And keeps it interesting. We're always looking for these characters, right? Not just characters that can fight. You know what I mean? And when that guy's on point, he's something. So I'd love to see him at 100%.
Yeah, I think Paulo Costa is going to be a fantastic add to the 205-pound division. It's a weak division. It's probably the weakest division outside the heavyweights in the whole sport right now, which is so strange because the sport was built off of the 205-pound division. The light heavyweight division was always Tito Ortiz. It was first off, it started with Frank Shamrock. So Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, like that was your mix of like these guys were just animals that carried the sport on their, it literally like they carried the sport for so like during that time when we were trying to get TV deals, trying to get out of pay-per-view, they were carrying the sport. And it was two guys on the Ultimate Fighter that catapulted to the next level. But still, these guys were carrying it and kept it up kept it upright until those guys were able to get it to the big time. But this is going to be a good fight. The next fight, though, on this is Josh Hokit versus Curtis Blaydes. There's something I want to say here. This is very strange, man.
It's what I'll say. When this one was announced, I couldn't decide if I was like, what are we doing? Or if I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. You know, this dude's coming out running his mouth saying that Josh Hokit's the next big thing. I want Curtis Blaydes. Let's go. Let's take Curtis Blaydes. You know what I mean? Like, part of me kind of likes it. Like, the new blood in here. What are we talking about? Getting the fresh blood in here, getting the fresh matchups, getting, you know, these people opportunities to move up the rankings quickly. So from that perspective, I kind of like it. The dude came in, called his shot. Let him have it. It's on the other hand, it is weird, you know what I mean? To let him come in and just steal everything away from Curtis Blaydes, who has been grinding on the scene for so long to get to where he is and to establish his position is a little tough. So I'll be honest, man, I'm torn on this matchmaking. On the one hand, I love it. On the one hand, it definitely leaves me scratching my head.
Look, I like that, and we talked about this last week, about guys that are like Kevin Vallejos and those guys. Like they're the ones that you see potential in. Let's fast track them. Let's get into the rankings so we can try to get, no offense, some of the older guys out. Right? That's kind of what's stalling this, I think, sport right now. People want to see new blood come in and challenge for the titles. The ones that are in the top 5, they'll hang out there for a while. I get it. Yeah. But people in that mix want to see fresh new blood. That's why I think the 170-pound division right now is so talked about and so stacked. You know, you've got Michael Morales. You've got, obviously, Ian Gary. You've got guys that are kind of making a splash. Joaquin Buckley, people are still talking about him, of course. but because they're fun, they're on social media yapping away, and they're doing a great job promoting themselves. But it's fresh new blood. It's not the same guys just being ran through. And no offense, the lightweight division was because those old lions they weren't going quietly into the night. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, like those guys are not going anywhere. Islam was there obviously as the champ, but like they're not going anywhere. You're gonna have to bring someone to kill me. That was their mentality. In the 170-pound division, they've just been kind of stalemate. Like, think about that. Colby Covington was still in the rankings. He hasn't won a fight in 6 years or something like that. Right? I mean, it's just really weird that these fighters are still able to maintain their spots in the top 15 rankings, even if they haven't got a win in 5 or 6 years. Who was it? Tai Tuivasa has lost 6 in a row. I think he's number 15 right now.
Right.
And nothing against Tai, because I'm a huge Tai fan. I love everything about him. I think he's great for the sport. He's fun, entertaining, all those things. But the reality is, when you haven't won that many, when you haven't won, you've been 0-6, and you're still in the top 15, that tells you where the sport is at right now.
It's interesting, right? Like, I feel like you kind of have to like do multiple things for multiple kinds of fans, right? Like, this fight right here is not for me and you. This fight right here is for somebody just tuning in that's going to catch Hokit talking a little trash. That's going to see him with his American flag bandana on and yapping with his coach and having a good time. Just this afternoon, I was watching a clip of John Martin from the PFL and Dan Hardy, and he was talking about John Martin was about what kind of got him interested in being a part of the PFL. And it was like the fact that, Tyson and Paul did 100 million. Mm-hmm. And then, you see the top fighters out there and they're only doing like 2 million. And what's the disconnect? And, why is it that the people that aren't the best are drawing more and the people aren't? So he kind of wanted to get involved and do something about that. But I kind of feel like this is one of those matchups. Just like, look, we're going to give a little bit of something for everybody. Because this fight on paper, rankings wise, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Respect to Curtis Blaydes for not laughing when they came to the offer and being like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm not doing this. For him being willing to put his number on the line. But I feel like this is one of those matchups where it's just like, hey, let's have a little fun. Let's do something a little different. We know the heavyweight division is kind of tied up right now. So what do the heavyweight matchups even mean right now? There's no number one contender fights right now. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. Let's just have some fun with it.
No, I agree. I think this is fun. And look, Hoke is going to bring something to this division, a little entertainment, a little bit of that WWE style. I really think he's making a play to try to get into that WWE market. It's smart on his part. I don't think he wants to be he is a real fighter, but if he gets this win, this legitimizes him. 100% it does. Because I honestly believe I think he can out wrestle Curtis Blaydes.
Ooh, can you imagine?
He can out wrestle. I think he can
imagine if he comes in and does that?
I think he can out wrestle him. I mean, you got to take a look. Remember, Gelton Almeida threw Curtis Blaydes around and they got tired. But he threw Curtis Blaydes around in that first round. He took him down probably 4 or 5 times in the first 4 minutes. Then he had nothing for the rest of the fight and then ended up losing. But I think Hokit can probably potentially out wrestle him. I think he's got faster hands. He doesn't have better stand up than Curtis Blaydes. I think Curtis Blaydes' stand up is a little bit more technical, but that doesn't mean that leads to success. Guys that actually just come in explosive with their hands and then lead into their takedowns, it keeps the opponent guessing. And look, anyone can get clipped with a big shot, especially in this weight class.
Josh, I'm shocked, man. I had not seen the line on this one. I thought Curtis Blaydes would be a big favorite.
He's the wrestling, man.
He's a minus 120. He's a favorite, but he's like a minus 120, minus 130. Like, people are giving Hokit a real chance. The odds makers in the public is giving him a real chance.
Do you know about Hokit's background in wrestling?
I don't know.
This guy can wrestle, man.
I know he plays some college football
Valley,
as well.
California. Yeah, he played in the NFL. He was with the 49ers. So he's a full-on athlete. His brother was one of the best wrestlers to come out of California. His brother was fighting him in Bellator for a little bit. I don't know. I think he's still there. He's kind of like in that development program for them when Coker was involved. But Josh can wrestle, man. He's from that Fresno, Clovis area, I believe. This dude can wrestle. So, like I said, I believe that he can out wrestle. He could potentially out wrestle Curtis Blaydes.
That's awesome. So Isaiah Hokit's his brother. I didn't even realize that.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
How many Hokits do you know, man? I've only met 2. These are the 2.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like, I only know 2 Hokits. I probably should link them together.
What? Yeah, his brother can wrestle.
Yeah,
This is a family of wrestlers, man. This is a family of wrestlers. And if you come out of that, like the Zinkins out of Fresno, you know, you've got the Abbasses out of that Fresno area as well. I mean, you've got Lorenzo Neal, who wrestled in Fresno State, obviously played for the San Diego Chargers, is a fullback, Hall of Famer in my eyes. But yeah, absolutely, man. Like that whole area, that Central Valley of California produces Buchanan wrestling right now is fucking one of the best in the country. If not, I think they are number one in the country. They sent the most to D1 schools. Their kids, the Zinkins, one of the Zinkins sons, he's going to Oklahoma State. The other Zinkin son is at Nebraska right now, but they're multiple 3-time state champ in California, which is very tough to do, by the way. And studs that come out of that area. Hokits come out of that area. So Josh and Isaiah, both of them, stud.
If this kid goes to 3-0, but beats number 5 in the process, I mean, wow.
Is that a testament? Is that a testament how weak the weight class is, or is that a testament how good he is?
A little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of both. The heavyweight division's thin right now. There's no question about it. I mean, guys are getting 1 win, 2 wins, and getting into the top. But he shot a shot, right? He said, "Hey, give me this matchup, man." If he does that, gosh, I mean, then then in front of him, you're only talking about, obviously, Aspinall still on the sidelines. Gane has the interim fight coming up, but then you're just talking about Volkov, Pavlovich, and Waldo Cortez Acosta above him. What a meteoric rise that would be, man! Unbelievable.
Yeah, it'd be wild, right?
And I don't know if people are gonna love him or hate him if they haven't been exposed to him just yet, right? I will say I know that some of the folks in the media haven't loved his interviews that they've had. But we need characters. We need characters. We need people back there.
It is what it is. It is what it is, man. Like you're like, he's gonna give it to you raw. That's the way he's just gonna be raw as hell when he gets on the mic. He reminds me a little bit of the Brian Battle, like when Brian Battle grabbed that mic in Paris and was just shitting on France. I was like, oh, good luck getting out of that country. I was like, he was rough, man. But she's. Look, I'd like Hokit to win this fight. I think he's able to out wrestle. Look, I think the experience of Blaydes is what gives me a big concern. Because as this fight goes on, Hokit's had some pretty impressive performances, but not against anywhere near this level. This is a big step up in competition.
I think it's too much too soon. But I like it. Like I said, I think it's too much too soon. But we see that a lot, right? Guys to get to a level and they see, okay, my bad. Now I got it. Now I know what I need to do. I think it's too much too soon. I think the veteran savvy comes through for Curtis Blaydes. But as you said, a fight's a fight, especially in the heavyweight division, man. You can have all the best tactics in the world, all the best strategies in the world. Yeah. And one moment can change everything. So this is a weird bout that they put together, but it's fun.
Yeah, I agree. Some dude in the chat, thanks for the $10 super chat. Sup, dudes and dudettes? I'll take the dudettes today because John Morgan looking good today, man. This guy looking good. 2-piece and a biscuit looking good. That's right. You shaved today, huh?
Shaved it up. Fresh day, man. Got the fresh cut as well,
Yeah, looking good. I'm getting cut on Thursday, man. I got to get cut on Thursday.
Pockets a little lighter after paying the taxes today. That part wasn't fun. Like I took a haircut everywhere. You know what I'm saying, bro? Yeah.
Fucking bank accounts. Bro, you know what I've realized? They do the NFL draft on April 15th, so it makes us forget about what's actually going on. Yeah, like, oh, you just paid out this amount of money, right? It's horrible. I pay quarterlies and I gotta still pay. It's torture, man. It's
not good.
I'm telling you. And the worst part about it,
can't get behind on it though, man. Fighters, boy, when you're coming up, hopefully you got somebody giving you good advice and tax advice.
Yeah, I mean, what's killing me here is. Ooh, I'm in Texas, man. Our property taxes, no joke. No joke. But I mean, our schools are good. That's the other thing. We've got really good schools, so I'll take that. But good public schools. But regardless, man, the property tax, no joke. I mean, you get a homestead here, so that knocks it down, quite a bit. And you can live in whatever house you want, so your property tax will go down. We have no income tax, so all of our income goes right into our pocket. But I've always felt like, doesn't matter what state you're in, property tax is a scam. How do I not own my own house? I just paid, this amount of money, this much money for it. How do I not own it? And for the rest of my life, I got to pay property tax.
I had never really thought about that before, to be honest. And by the way, I used to be a homeowner in Texas, now a homeowner in Nevada, and it is about a third of the price of the value of property taxes here. I never thought about it, though, until people started talking about it recently, and it does kind of make you wonder, like, wait a minute. One day, I got the whole house paid off, and I still got to pay you every year for the privilege of living on this land that I paid off that I spent a bunch of money on. This seems
Which
like
means
it should
you
be a
never-
cutoff at some point.
Which means you never own it.
Right. Never do.
And that's the most difficult thing for farmers. Is because when farmers die, they can't hand it down because they got to pay the property tax on that, plus the death tax and all the other shit that comes along with it. That's why they end up having to sell the property back to the city or back to the state or whatever, or if they can't sell it. Yeah, it's a shit show, man. Total shit show. We could definitely vent about that on another show. But man, tax time is tax time's rough.
I didn't wait till the end, but I waited till pretty close to the end. But I got it all done today. I'm just glad to put it behind me. That stack of papers that have been needed to go through and sitting in the corner was holding pressure over me. This is
what kills me is that you got like for mine, I have a CPA do it.
Right.
But you still have to put the whole thing together for them.
Exactly.
It's not like in the movies where they're like, oh yeah, here's all the receipts. No. You got to organize it, put it all together.
No.
This is gas, this is restaurants, this is kids stuff, this is housing stuff. You got to organize it if you're going to do it that way. But they still want to input like on a spreadsheet and sent to them. I'm like, really, what am I paying you to do? Just organize the actual tax forms. That's it. And I
even go to the step of making sure that whatever business I have has like its own account, its own card, its own, you know what I mean? It's like everything's separate. I should be able to just hand you all this and be like, this is everything for this business, period.
Yeah.
And it's not that
I
easy.
wish there was just a flat tax. Like, just like make it flat. Let's just go flat. But then everyone's like, oh, it favors the rich and this and that. I'm like, but look, just everyone flat tax, or just charge me 85 cents at the pump or whatever it is every single time, or at the grocery store. Give me a sales tax, one flat sales tax. I don't know, whatever. I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
I kind of like that because then it's based on what you actually consume. If I decide I don't want to consume anything and I just want to hoard all my money to myself and go into a room and Scrooge McDuck it, all I want to just throw it up in the air, then let me do that. You know what I mean? Don't let me pay when I spend it, not when I make it.
Look, I'm one of the cheapest motherfuckers you'll ever meet. That's just me, bro. I swear, man. I'm always looking for an angle. I'm cheap when it comes to stuff.
I respect it.
It's a long life. People don't realize it's a long life. When you get done fighting, right? Just say I lived to be 80. I got done when I was 40. I got to live 40 more years. How are you going to fund the rest of your life like that way? Get another job, do all this other stuff. I mean, we ain't making Jake Paul money and Mike Tyson money over here.
Well, that's the hardest part for fighters, right? When you start making those big checks and you're like, okay, that's a big check. Yes, but like, you're not guaranteed that for any length of time moving forward. And you don't know, it can all be taken away in a heartbeat, right? So it's like you gotta stash it away, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I was fortunate enough I was able to do well with my money, but I do look back at my career and I go, man, I wasted so much money. I could have probably double what I have now, maybe even closer to triple. And I wasted money on dumb shit, buying cars I shouldn't have bought and just spending money on nightclubs I shouldn't have spent, gambling when I shouldn't have gambled. I mean, yeah. Anyways, that's for another show as well.
That's right.
All right, look, let's go ahead and talk Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. I like this fight. Somebody's getting knocked out.
Yes.
Somebody's going to sleep in this fight.
Another big light heavyweight fight, another big fight that you like. Anything could happen in this fight, right? Literally, there's no outcome of this fight that would surprise you other than it not ending in somebody getting knocked out. Like, these two dudes are going to go at it. They're big, tall, massive guys in the division that are going to throw down, and somebody's going to sleep. It's that simple.
I mean, the one surprise would be if they got a submission. That would surprise me.
Yeah. That would be surprising. It's getting finished. That's all I know.
Yeah. I don't think it's going past. Give me a round. You think round and a half?
Round and a half top.
Under.
I go under
round and a half. So you guys are betting people. What's the odds on this one, Dave? Can you pull that up for me, man? What are the odds on this? I think it's under 1.5. What you got? Johnny Walker is a minus against Johnny Walker. So Dominic Reyes is a minus 130. Johnny Walker is a plus 110. I mean, I would go with Dominic Reyes also.
I like Dominic Reyes. To be honest with you, I do. Again, nothing would surprise me in this matchup. I like Dominic Reyes in this fight as well. Yes, he had the bad loss to Carlos Ulberg, but look at what Carlos Ulberg's been doing. Look at where he is right now. He's just been a little bit more consistent in the run up to it. Johnny Walker had a couple setbacks. We didn't know where he was. Cheng-Min Yang, good win, but not necessarily a guy that was still kind of trying to prove himself that he deserved to be in that elite tier of competition. I like Dominic Reyes here, despite all the troubles he had for those many years.
No, I agree. Look, looking forward to this fight. We're gonna see one of the legends walk for the last time in Cub Swanson against Nate Landwehr. What's your take on this fight? What are the memories you have of Cub Swanson inside that cage?
Cub Swanson, to me, has become one of the premier spokesmen in this game for athletes. Like the way that he carries himself and speaks and handles himself. Like I love every media day that he does. I love the insight that he has because he doesn't hold anything back. You know, he's not trying to play any political games. He just shoots straight, and he's about as kind of a human being as you'll ever get. And obviously, he had some incredible fights over the years, you know, in the Hall of Fame. The WC, I mean, gosh, we could talk about that all night, what the WC meant to the sport and what that meant at the time. And I'll tell you, it's funny, like for all the in-cage memories, one of my best out-of-cage memories in all the years of covering the UFC, I was in Scotland. Cub Swanson was in Scotland as a guest fighter in Glasgow, and the UFC social team was like, hey, we're trying to put together a video piece about Scotland. Would you two guys want to go play golf? And we'll take care of it, and you guys go play a round of golf, and we shoot it. I'm like, do I want to play golf in Scotland with Cub Swanson? Like, you're damn right I do. You know what I mean? Like, what a way to spend an afternoon. Me and Cub the whole time were like, bro, think about where we came from, and here we are playing golf in Scotland together. Like, this is awesome. So he's a great dude. It's sad to me that this is the end of an era for Cub Swanson, but obviously we know he's going to be around the game forever, man. He's coaching now. You know, he's such a great leader and such a great influence. But, you know, they didn't give him a freebie on the way out, man. Nate Landwehr is an absolute savage. And, you know, it's unfortunate that a lost fight was the reason this got on the main card, but I'm glad it's on the main card. And I think this is going to be absolute bonkers.
Absolutely. I'm glad that it's on the main card. Give him the respect that he deserves. I think you have to do it. I wonder if they're going to give him a send-off with a video and everything. So I'm hoping that that's the case. I really am, because he deserves it. He's been a pioneer of the sport. Like, I always kind of felt like he never got the credit he deserved because he never talked a lot of shit. That was one. And two, like, he just overly, like, I have not yet heard one fighter ever say anything bad about him. Not one. And then on top of that, like you were talking about him being a coach. Look, he used to be a coach over at a UFC gym down in Huntington Beach, and then that gym folded up, and then he's opening up right now as we speak. If you live in the OC area and you want to head over to his new spot, his new spot's called Bloodline, I believe is what it's called.
Yep.
But he's opening it up here shortly. He is a great coach. Everyone I've ever talked to that's worked with him, he's got his head wrapped around the sport, and he understands how to produce top level fighters. So if you're looking to try to get into the sport, you're looking to try to break that mold. If you guys are in that area, I'd recommend probably training with him. So he's a good dude, great personality. You know, you're not gonna have any drama with him, and he's just straight up, man, family man. He's got a beautiful family and wonderful kids and a wonderful wife. So look, I think if I can't say anything bad about him, absolutely cannot. Just a great person.
And the type of guidance, I mean, obviously, you know, all the tactical advice that you need, all the strategic advice that you need is going to be there. But more so than that, just the psychological side of it, the lifestyle of it, just like everything that comes along with being a professional fighter, both inside and outside of the cage. That dude has seen it all, and he's lived eras, man. I mean, the WC, you know, man, there wasn't the money that's in it now, but again, it was for the love of the game in the early days. I mean, you're talking about starting out in 2004. You weren't fighting back in 2004 because you were looking to get rich and famous. You were doing it because you had passion for it. And this man saw eras. And, you know, the WC obviously will always hold a special part in a lot of people's hearts. You know, I know for you, obviously Strike Force, but similar things, right? You know what I mean? Where it's these other organizations, they all came in to what we have now. And then just these wars that he had, and always willing to be to fight the absolute best of the game. I mean, when you go through the list, I mean, literally a who's who. Like, there's nobody he didn't fight. You won't find anybody that says anything bad about Cub Swanson. That says something in the sport, man.
I agree. Ed, can you tell me how you say this? Is it Jaleski? How do you say that?
I kind of like Jaleski there.
Yeah, it looks like a Jaleski, right?
Yep.
I guess.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, but thanks for becoming a new member. Just so you guys are aware, if you guys decide to be a member, I actually do it can be up to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour 15. We're going to be picking one here, Dave, right? Podcast Dave will be picking somebody here coming up for this month of April. And you get a chance to debate me face to face, get you on the show. We'll do a full 45 minutes to an hour. Just come legit, come proper, come ready, because I'm ready to smash if you guys want to debate. But if you want to have a conversation, I'm open to that as well. I love it because this is a good opportunity for me to connect with people that want to become members of the Wayne and YouTube channel. So I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys have questions for John as well, like I said, John will be joining us every Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, every Tuesday night for our live show. This is going to be fun, man. We're going to have a great time. Look, there's obviously a lot there's a lot to be talked about on this fight. Is this fight happening too late? You got Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. It was supposed to happen several times in Bellator. And then also, too, it was kind of being talked about in PFL and just didn't align. And then ultimately, they both ended up being released. And now they're in the UFC, and we're seeing this fight happen here. Why do you think we're seeing it happen here? That's the first question. Why are we seeing this fight happen here?
This is because Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard were sitting in the office, and they just started cracking up. And they're like, guys, we had the chance to do something really funny here. We can make a Bellator fight right here. I mean, you can't tell me there were no options other on the table for Patricio Pitbull and no other options on the table for Aaron Pico. You know they had to have a little fun putting this one together. Is it too late? It is too late, but it's better late than never. I think it's good that this fight. It would just be an absolute damn shame for these guys to go through two organizations together and never see the matchup that was discussed coming together. So I'm glad that it's coming together. I will say, I don't know if you've seen the odds for this one. I was absolutely shocked at seeing the betting odds in this one. I looked at them earlier this week and could not believe it. But Aaron Pico is a big favorite in this fight.
Oof.
Yep, I know.
Woo. Let me give you my take on this.
Scares me.
Yeah, it does. And look, and I don't think it scares me based off of the knockout. I think it scares me based on that Aaron at some point his natural instincts are going to wrestle, And one of the guys in this sport for years has had one of the nastiest arming guillotines is Patricio Pitbull. And I think physical strength, even at his age, Patricio Pitbull, I've grappled with him, I've wrestled with him, I've done wall drills with him. You know, it's like trying to move a rock. It just doesn't like a heavy rock. On the ground, he's a lot better grappler than I ever thought he was going to be. And then I did train with him. I was like, dude, you are good. You are really good. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like he was really good. He just, the way he moved, how hard he was to get past his guard, how strong he was in like this elevator hook sweep position. And then when he got a hold of your neck, he was trying to hit that arm and guillotine and that guillotine from anywhere. It didn't matter, from his butt, from all four. It didn't matter. He was trying to hit it from everywhere. So I think in this, ultimately both guys have power. Pico's got the speed in the hands. I think Pico puts the combinations together probably a little bit better because he's got the speed, but defensively and chin, it goes to Patricio. So it's if Patricio can get to Pico's chin, it could be a short night, or Pico can get to his chin as well. So I think it's gonna be very hard to finish Patricio though. Very hard.
I was a little surprised to see that big of a difference between them. And listen, I'll be honest, I'm an Aaron Pico fan. Like, there's just guys that I'm sorry. Like, obviously, I'm a fan of it. Not that I'm not a fan of Pitbull. Like, he's a phenomenal fighter. But I don't know, just the journey that Pico's been on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, my heart goes out for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, and he's such a nice kid. Obviously, you spend a lot of time around him. He's such a nice guy, right? So polite, so respectful, such a family man, so cool in everything that he does, and just like uber level potential where everybody was like, this is the guy, and every time it would get right there, it would fall short, beginning with the debut. So it's just like my heart goes out for this dude. I'm a fan of the guy. I want to see him do well, but this matchup scares me a little bit. But I think it's cool that it's happening. It's too late. It's a damn shame that it didn't happen over in Bellator, but I'm kind of glad it's happening now. And it is crazy to see the track record that Patricio put together in Bellator, man. Like 30 fights under the Bellator banner, like just the poster guy for so many years. It's still wild. It's still a little bit wild for me to see him in the UFC, to be honest. I think I'm still getting used to it. But it's kind of cool. I do like the fact they did this, and you can't tell me that they weren't cracking up a little bit when they put this fight together.
Well, I was very I believe that differently than you do. I think honestly they're looking to get rid of one guy. Both guys are expensive.
Possible. Well, I know, and that's realistically speaking. I mean, neither one of them is like, normally you get a 4-fight deal when you come in. Neither one of them's on their 4th fight yet, so they might not necessarily be done yet. But as you know, anytime you lose, they can let you go at any point in the contract. And as you said, they're both expensive coming in. No longer can you offset that with pay-per-view revenue, although you're getting pretty nice money coming from Paramount. So it would not shock me, especially if Aaron Pico wins in dramatic fashion. You could easily say Pitbull 38, a little long in the tooth for this division.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd hate to see Pico depart, man. I really would.
I think if Pico loses, I think they probably him and Ha, and they maybe keep Pico around and they give him somebody a little bit lower on the totem pole. I think they're trying to put Pico because they are paying him what they're paying him to keep him in that. They want to get him right into the top 15 so they can maybe fast track him into some fights. And let's not forget, he was looking good against Lerone Murphy. And I know it's not a long enough sample size. It's not a big enough one. I just know the Aaron Pico that I know is going to grind and push and hang on you and push you. Like he's going to break you like mentally. That's his whole thing. He's been doing that to kids, to adults since he was 13, 14, 15 years old. Just been making these guys break under pressure. That's his whole thing, is cardio, is pressure. He lives a clean lifestyle. He's all about family. Like his life is fighting. Really, like his son, and it's fighting. That's it. And so he has nothing else that he wants to do and accomplish except be the best. And I honestly believe that he still has a lot left. I just think that if he loses here, it's going to put him back into this really weird position where he'll end up being, I think his next fight after that will probably be like a Nate Landwehr kind of fight.
Yeah.
To get him a win, get him back on track. If Patricio loses, I think they cut him 100%. I think he's making probably close to, he's making really good money. Money, I don't want to say, but he's making good money. I think at 39 years old, they're like, I do think that I'm upset because we had one opportunity as soon as they signed Patricio. They had one opportunity to have him and Jose Aldo fight, and we didn't see that fight. That was the fight that they should have always done. As soon as they got Patricio, been like, hey, Aldo, you want to come out of retirement? Let's go ahead and have it in Brazil. You guys main event or co-main event it under a big name, under a big fight. I think that would have been huge. That would have
been really cool.
But they missed that opportunity. That's the thing. The UFC, I feel like there's low-hanging fruit that they keep missing on. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. And I think this is that thing where it's like, do rankings matter or do they not matter? Do the expectations of where somebody stands in the division matter or they not matter? Because I agree with you. Like, again, this Hokit Blaydes fight is weird, but like it was there. The guy called for it, and he's got a little buzz behind him, so let's go for it. That was low-hanging fruit that they did say, let's go. Now, obviously, that's not nowhere in the realm of conversation of a Pitbull and an Aldo. That's two legends of the game. But I agree. I do wish they could do more stuff like that. And you know how difficult the scheduling is and all the stuff that matters. But I agree. I wish, when there's opportunities like that they would jump on it right away. Because it doesn't happen a lot. But when they're there, I 100% agree with you. I think they really should.
Yeah, I agree, man. You've got Matisse Gamrot versus, you got Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. Two guys that are extremely tall, long, lanky, and both guys like to stand. Neither guy's going to probably try to wrestle. If I'm Kevin Holland, though, I do try to take this fight to the ground.
100%.
You've got skills on the ground. Ever since he's gotten away from it, he's kind of spiraled out of control on a downward trend, but he's still fun to watch. And I've got a lot of respect for Kevin Holland, and I think Randy Brown is very talented on the feet, but he's got a kryptonite, and the kryptonite is when his back hits the ground.
Completely agree with you in that assessment. I think it's a fun fight. I like it. Two guys, both these guys, when I see them on a card, I know they're going to be fun to watch. Like whatever fight they're in, I know I need to watch that fight because it's going to be fun, right? So you put them both together, logic tells you that it's going to be a fun fight. But I completely agree with you. I think not that Kevin Holland can't win the fight on the feet. He can. But it's just, as you said, it's been a real kryptonite for Randy Brown. So I would think that the game plan really needs to be based around grappling for Kevin Holland.
I agree. You got Gamrot versus, how do you say this guy's last name? Ribovics or Ribovic? Ribovic. Okay, There you go. I mean, look, Ribovic is obviously fantastic. I think he's just a dog on the feet. Should be a fun fight. And then you've got Gamrot who just wrestle. He's going to wrestle. How do you see this fight going?
I like Gamrot here with the grappling, man. I really do. I think he's, he not that he's incapable on the feet and that he won't try to trade a little bit and make it kind of fun, but I don't think he wants to be in an absolute shootout with Esteban Ribovic, man. We've seen how that plays out and what a war that he can put you in, man. Esteban's been in a couple of them already in his UFC career. I just think the grappling is so good on Gamrot's side.
Yeah.
And it's fun grappling too, right? It's aggressive grappling. It's not just like lay and pray grappling.
A lot of scrambling
yeah.
involved. And yeah, if you take a look back at his history with Sarukian and they're scrambling back and forth, you knew you were watching some of the highest level wrestling you've ever seen in the sport. And it was fantastic to watch. I agree. I think he ends up getting this fight to the ground and just able to dominate the top position. I mean, I would like to just see a little bit more emphasis on a vicious ground and pound. And that was one of the adjustments that Khabib made and other fighters that have come along, like Fedor. They had some of the nastiest ground and pound. And I think if you're going to be a wrestler, you've got to start to master that art so that fans start to flock to you and be like, okay, look, this guy, he doesn't just take people down and hold them down. He's actually posturing up, doing damage, trying to land some. And now with the 12-6 elbows, there's no reason for you not to be doing damage. There's none.
Right.
Just let them fly. And look, and let's just be honest. I've had this conversation with Big John multiple times and also some other referees, but mainly Big John. As soon as you start landing elbows, the refs start paying close attention. You're just punching. Sure, we're watching, but we're standing upright. As soon as you start throwing those elbows, we start kind of hunkering down in our stance going, okay, it might be time to stop this fight here soon. And it's funny because I watched it played out several times in watching some of these fights. As soon as elbows start getting thrown, referees start getting in that athletic stance. Not that they're very athletic, but they start getting in that athletic stance. This is why people call me the punk. And that's kind of where they're at. They're ready to jump in at any moment because they know the fight can end with one shot. It's very difficult to end, the shots from the top position with the head off the ground, to land it clean and the gloves and everything else. That you start landing the elbows, it starts doing damage. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I think with Gamrot, he needs to start opening up on the grappling or on the ground and pound. I mean,
completely agree. I think that, again, even though we know fans, the majority of fans like the stand-up game most, they do appreciate good dominant ground and pound, right? They don't appreciate necessarily just positional control and, oh, yes, I'm advancing. Yeah. And if we were in an IBJJF tournament, I'd be getting points like crazy right now. Like, no. They want to see damage be done. I was talking to one of our matchmakers at CFSC, James Lyons, about this recently. And he's like, one of the things he really likes to see when he's evaluating guys is guys that when they're in dominant position can control with just one hand so that they always have that other one free to throw. And he's like, when I see that, that's somebody I like to see. That's a skill that I like to see out of people because I know they're going to be able to do damage when they get in those positions. And I think that's a great observation.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Like I go back and watch like the Fedor fights and how he just put his head in the chest and just like throw kind of like a Rich Franklin around the guard shots and ground and pound. And you could just hear his shots land. He was like, oh, people loved it. And I think you could hear it more because fans didn't make any noise in Japan when he was fighting. True. But you know what I mean? Like until big shots landed, the guys were out. But like ultimately, that's where I think Gamrot needs to work on his game. But outside of that, he's a fantastic fighter. You got Tatiana Suarez. What's that?
Yeah, such a great athlete too, man. Like
absolutely
incredible.
Tatiana Suarez versus Lupita Godinez.
Tatiana Suarez, to me, man, I'm just not ready to write her off yet, man. I know that the Zhang Weili result was not good, and we thought she was going to be a champion years ago. The female Khabib comparisons, they were incredible. Obviously, that's high expectations. I'm not ready to write her off yet. I think there's still greatness ahead for her. I know it's been a difficult stretch for her. And this is not an easy matchup for her. This is somebody that can match her in terms of, grappling skills to some degree, not the exact same level, but to some degree, athleticism as well, durability. But I'm putting some faith in Tatiana here, man. I still believe there's good days ahead for her and potentially championship matchups ahead for her as well. So I'm going to lean towards Tatiana Suarez here.
Yeah, I think she'll be able to get the takedown. The wrestling's going to be too much, and the top control, and she'll be able to do some damage from there. I think with Tatiana, though, being together with Patchy Mix, Patchy going through a rough patch. No, that was no pun intended. But It literally was one of those, the high expectation of just how good they were in the grappling atmosphere. And neither one has, I think, from what I understand, I don't know if they're still at Extreme Tour, if they were at John Woods, or if they were bouncing around from gym to gym. And I don't know if that has something to do with just they're kind of stalled out a little bit right now. Or is the sport really just getting to the point where they figured them out? They figured out that they're mainly grappling, they're mainly wrestling, and all we got to do is just stick and move, not stand directly in front of them. And that's been the MO for every fighter that's ever fought like a really good wrestler or grappler. But it's not the easiest thing to pull off. No one could stop Khabib's, but Khabib, as he got older or as he got more mature in terms of fighting, he started opening up on the feet more. Neither one of them really opens up, carelessly, I should say, or aggressively to make someone fear their striking to get to the takedowns to control the top position. So I don't know. It's weird because look, she's only got one loss, but we're talking to her as if she's dead, like as if like she doesn't like. That's the thing. She's still very much in this like potentially getting back. And let's be honest, like I think she has the sky could potentially be the limit. Her and Mackenzie Dern. I don't see why not.
Yep.
You know, like a wrestler, grappler, yeah. You know, I know that Whaley's gonna slide right in and get that fight because she deserves it. But in this situation, I mean, like Tatiana Suarez is one of those that would give her a fits because Mackenzie Dern has no damn wrestling. She can't wrestle for shit. And I mean, like her stand up, which she started way later, is way better than her wrestling. But her jiu-jitsu is the best, which is so strange to me.
It's crazy to me because her jiu-jitsu is so good. Like you would think, don't even worry about training that for a year or two. Like let's just do blast doubles all day every day. Can we just do that? Can we just do chain wrestling all day every day? And that's all we're doing. But you know, maybe it doesn't work for her style. But I agree. No, I think that'd be a great matchup. And you're right. I mean, Zhang Weili, she deserves everything, but you know, maybe you want some fresh matchups in there, some fresh names in there. You know, we know that Paramount wants to see some American stars out there to feature for this, you know, big TV contract that they're using. So I think there's a big opportunity here for, and you know, it's interesting, this stuff with Patchy. I mean, normally I don't like to focus too much on, you know, people's lives outside of the cage, right? You know what I mean? Like their relationships don't matter. But when it's two elite level fighters like that, and one of them's having a difficult stretch, you do wonder, like, does that make the dynamic at home a little tough? Does it, you know, are you not focusing as much because you're thinking about them? And, you know, it's just all that stuff. Those intangibles, as we talked about before, sometimes it seems silly to talk about intangibles, but they matter, man. This is such a psychological game and mental game, and so much it happens outside of it too. So interesting how that helps out, but I'm not ready to write her off. I mean, the resiliency that she's thrown throughout her life, much less her fighting career, I'm taking her in this one.
Yeah, it's not even so much like, okay, talking about their relationship. It's not even so much like, hey, am I doing more for you than you do? I'm not getting into that. It's simply put, like, if he's having a hard time, is she going to start having a hard time? And if she was having a hard time, would he start having a hard time? Because it's like, man, what are we doing that's not working? Why are we not having success? Why am I? And then if you're not winning, am I bringing you down? It starts playing. People don't realize it's this mental, like, roller coaster that you're going through. And then now you're with somebody who's also an elite fighter, they're going through the same shit too. So now you're trying to jump through it together. It's gotta be tough, man. It's gotta be tough.
It's like if there's a bad vibe in the gym or whatever, but there's a coach that can pull you out of it or that can rally you behind, but then you go home and it's just you two by yourself, and you're going, like you said, you're mulling through all this stuff together, and you're going over stuff, and you just never know how that's going to affect somebody, you know?
Well, you got to think, right? At the time, we had DC, Luke, Kane, and Habib, all champions at AKA. I think like Kane had just lost, I think Francis, but like still, the four of them were champions around the same time. Everyone that walked in our gym, we all walked in like we were all the champs. Because like that's how it is. When the champs are in your gym, you're like, shit, we doing something right. I'm one of the best. Because I train here with these guys. That shit's rubbing off on me. Well, when it's that way, when like one of you's not having success or you're both kind of struggling a little bit, you start wondering, like, what are we doing? How can we fix it? It's one of those weird, things. So I don't know, man. I want her to have success. And I think she still has a lot left. I think, and like I said, I'm not ready to write her off as well. I think she gets this win. I think she gets to take down, dominant top position, is able to control and go through there. The Kelvin Gastelum versus, go ahead.
Let me say something real quick though, Jess. The fact that there's this many storylines and angles and impacts on a fight this far down the card, I think this echoes why from the beginning that you were like, this is the best card of the year. I bet people, when you said that off the top of the show, would be like, this dude's crazy. What is he talking about? But that's how well matched this card is. And the fact that we're this far down talking about this might be a fight that could impact the title shot, that goes to show why I think we're so hyped about this card.
Yeah, Tatiana's, what does she rank? Like number 3 or 4 or something?
Number 3, yeah.
Yeah, and she's what, 3 fights from opening the prelims?
She's 2. She's number 2.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez. You've got Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. I mean, both these guys, I know they're towards the end.
Yep.
but it's going to be a fun fight. Someone I think is going to get knocked out. So I don't think this fight's going to really go to the ground. Vicente is good on the ground. I just don't think he wants to spend the energy trying to get Kelvin Gastelum to the ground. Kelvin can wrestle, and he's got that fast twitch, tortillas and tacos, like kind of body figure. But man, the guy he can flow, he can move. He's got cardio for days, and he's light on his feet. I mean, he's the real thing, man. I enjoy Kelvin Gastelum.
You're allowed to say that because you're half Mexican, so it's okay.
I am half Mexican. I am.
But I agree. No, I completely agree with that. I think, again, both these guys are at the later stages of their career. Both of us have given us some battles over the year, but I agree. I think this is going to be a stand-up affair, and I like Kelvin Gastelum in it, man. I'm a huge Vicente Luque fan, another great guy that's been in some great fights, but I like Kelvin Gastelum in this fight.
I agree. Charles Radke versus Prado. Look, to me, this is opening the card. I believe this is opening the card. On mine here, it says opening the card.
Yep.
Prado is just one of those guys, walks forward, tries to land the big shot, often doesn't. And then Radke is one of the, it's going to be a great opening fight. Great opening fight.
Great way to set the tone for the night. And Charles Radke, old Chuck Buffalo, is a former CFSC champ. So I'm just going to completely homer out. And that's my guy. I'm riding with CFSC, all the way. So we're going with Chuck Buffalo.
Look at you. Look at you. Hey, guys, if you guys haven't hit that link down below in the descriptions, pick up the new drink LMNT. They've got this new 12-ounce can. It's awesome. It's called, this is the pineapple one. I love the pineapple one. They also have the lemonade salt. They just dropped the pink lemonade for the summer, the pink lemonade salt. So check that out. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Use the link down below. I'm helping you guys, man. Also, too, if you guys are a member, okay, I also send out free packages, okay, of LMNT for you guys. So make sure you guys become a member, and I will mail it off. Normally, it costs me like $20 just to mail it to you. I should charge you guys for the shipping, but I don't because I love you guys. You guys have been supporting the show. I appreciate you guys so much, man. You guys are awesome. Our fan base is awesome. You guys are great. So thank you so much for continuing to support the show. And look, let's go ahead and talk PFL because PFL's got a show the same time. What are they doing, John? Why are we doing this?
All right. So listen, I hate this. I absolutely hate it. But I do know that, listen, as you're trying to map out a schedule as an organization, you're trying to figure out what arenas make sense and what cities make sense and what date your TV partner has open. You can't spend the whole time worried about what are those guys doing over there, right? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it. But this is unfortunate because I think this is a solid card. A lot of notable names on here, a fun card that is literally going on at like the exact same time on the exact same night. And I don't like that. This fight night card, at least, previously we got to kind of see the end of the PFL card after the UFC was over. And so that worked out pretty well, I thought. We got a full day of all kinds of action. I don't like this. I don't want to absolutely just criticize them and be like, what are you guys doing? Because I understand, man, they've got to map out their plans and they can't sit around just be worried about what is the UFC schedule. But as they progress, and we all know that, hey, probably not going to end up back on ESPN next year, probably looking at another TV partner. I hope that maybe they'll say, hey, maybe Friday nights are our thing, or maybe
Thursdays.
it's Sunday. Thursdays, maybe it's Thursdays. You know what I mean? Let's do that, and let's not go against the UFC. Let's not even give ours, because we know they're doing 42 weeks out of the year, so we're going to struggle to find the 10 that they're not on.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm against Friday night because you only have 2 nights off if you're a working man, 9 to 5. You're working you're hitting the pavement, whatever it is, right? You're thinking, man, Friday night I can go out, Saturday night I can stay home, watch the fights, and get, have a good night Sunday or all day Sunday and chill. If you do this on Thursday night, I'm going to be home anyways. I can catch fights till 10 o'clock, still get a good night's sleep, or until midnight, whatever it is, get a good night's sleep, wake up and struggle through Friday knowing it's Friday, and I have the rest of the weekend to recover and have some fun. So I like the Thursday nights, and I also do recall we did Bellator Thursday nights on CBS Sports for a while, for probably about 3 months, I think, something like that. It was awesome. Numbers were good, 350,000, somewhere around there, 400,000 people were viewing, sometimes as low as 225. But ultimately, we were
that network. That's good for that network.
And we were doing well. And I was so mad. We decided, I think, to leave and go to Showtime. Obviously, that's above my pay grade. But ultimately, it came down to like, hey, we want to see you back on the Showtime platform. And I think that, the higher ups decided on that. But I really felt like Thursday nights was the way to be, because if you think about it, right, it didn't conflict at all with the UFC. That was one. Two is we were doing our pressers and stuff on Tuesday. And so fighters made weight on Wednesday, fights happened on Thursday. It was awesome for the fighters, and it was also better, I think, for the media. We would have got way more coverage knowing that they didn't have to show up at the other events until Thursday afternoon or Friday morning and they could show up for weigh-ins. So if they left that night after our show, wherever they had to go, and showed up for weigh-ins on Friday to the UFC events, we would have got more coverage. So ultimately, it just didn't work out. But I really wish we would have stayed. I think if PFL was smart, they would try to find a partner that is willing to put them on Thursday nights. And I don't know where that is. Now, ultimately, I think they're going to end up on Fox Nation. That's where I think they're going to end up, because with Roth Wrestling on there. So you have two platforms now that feed into each other. I honestly believe they're going to end up at Fox Nation.
That's interesting. Okay, so two things I want to go with that then is, number one, spot on. Thursdays are great. I think Thursdays are better than Fridays for exactly what you said. Like, even for a hardcore MMA fan, like, dude, I can't give up my whole weekend. I'm going to tell my wife I got to watch Friday night and Saturday night. Like, I can't take the kid out. We can't know. Like, I got to give up one or the other. So I like Thursday. I will say, looking from the business side, it's a little bit more difficult to sell tickets on a Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
Not as many people can get out. So you might have to change the size of your venue or the scope or your expectations of what you want, because it's harder to sell tickets on a Thursday night. But I want to say this, and I've heard the Fox Nation floated out there. I don't know how much legitimacy or if there's much progress in that direction yet. Here's what's interesting. If they are on there with Roth Wrestling, does the UFC stop letting their athletes go to Roth Wrestling to think like, hey, we're going to let our athletes compete on this platform that's also on a competing MMA channel as well? I don't know. I don't know if that would impact. Maybe the UFC says, I don't care. It's just wrestling. It's nothing anyway, whatever. But you're kind of indirectly, there's going to be, if that's the case, there's going to be PFL ads riddled throughout the Real American Freestyle broadcast with your UFC athletes on there who are obviously generating a lot of the attention on those matchups. No disrespect to the world-class wrestlers that are on there, but most of the heat is coming around the UFC fighters. I wonder if that would impact business models at all.
You just had our Monster Rookie headline, Roth Wrestling. Yeah. Against Giorgio. I mean, like, that lets you know. And then you've got Colby Covington. Like you've got these guys that are on here headlining these shows. And I know it's wrestling, but still, they have a wrestling background. I get it. But they're mainly known for being UFC fighters. That is a good point. I never thought about it that way. Would they stop their guys from competing in Roth Wrestling because you have the PFL on that platform? Interesting take.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they would or not. Maybe they just decide that it's not worth it. It's good for us to keep our guys busy and let them make some money outside of the UFC. But it does seem weird to be on essentially what would be a competing network. So we'll see.
Yeah, would it be the the UFC's got to a point where we're not competing with the PFL. PFL can't compete with us. We're too big. It's almost like too big to fail right now. I can't say that just yet. We're going to see where they're at after this, $7.7 billion deal in 7 years, because we'll know where they're at. Like, did it fail or did it not? Are they happy with the products based on their next contract, wherever it is? But man, you do bring up a good point. Will the UFC think they're too big to fail and go ahead and let our guys keep wrestling? Or will they put a stop to it because the PFL is there? But I do believe they're going to end up on Fox Nation. Just my own.
Interesting. So Fox Nation. So I don't know how you. So I use Apple TV and I have Fox Nation, but I think I have to pay like $20 a month or something.
No,
like that.
It's $2.99.
It's like, is it? Because it's Fox. It's $2.99. So Fox Nation's like the extra thing, isn't it? All right, I don't know. Josh, that's how many streaming apps I have, bro. Like, I have like every streaming app and I have no idea what I'm paying for, and they all come billed through Apple, so I don't even see who it is. It's just Apple TV, Apple.
Do you miss? You know what I miss? I miss cable TV.
I hate to say it, but I absolutely do.
I miss cable TV. It was all on one platform. Yeah. I'm tired of it.
Even like recently, Apple TV, I feel like I used to be able to scroll over and just hit sports and it would pull up like all the sports I had access to. And now it doesn't do that anymore. Now I got to figure out like which app I want to go to. And so, as much as I hate to say it, I wish they could just bundle it all back together and I had one price and I could pick what I wanted. And this streaming phenomenon and breaking everything up did not work out the way that I wanted it to.
Did you see the thing where they talked about if you want to watch every NFL game this season, it costs like $1,400?
Really?
Yeah, because they're on there's a game on every individual platform. So you have to have every single streaming service, pretty much, like from Peacock to Apple to Amazon you've got to have every single one if you want to watch every single game.
It's amazing. You know, obviously the NFL, the dominant sporting brand in American culture, of course. But I've thought about that over the years. Like, I mean, how much of that really was simply because the fact that it was on network television? Like, it was free. You know what I mean? For years and years, you just had it. It was there. You could watch it. Now everything's a destination. Everything has a price tag attached to it. And that's not just mixed martial arts. That's every sport. You know what I mean? It's all behind something. So, okay, DC80 paid $36 the whole year for Fox.
Yeah.
I better go check my bill. I think I might have maybe I paid annual because I realized because I remember $30 for some reasons. Maybe that's
I think it's you probably paid annual, but it's $2.99 a month, I believe.
Okay.
They're saying if you buy it now, it's $2.99. I think once they do decide that they're going to end up buying or not buying, but joining with PFL, it's probably going to jump to $4.99. Let's just be honest. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe even more, maybe $9.99. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Now,
look, I love what John Martin is. I love what John Martin has been saying too about the way he said, look, not only do we need exposure, but we need a partner, right? We need somebody that's going to give us a consistent time slot. I can't be on a different time slot every week and nobody knows when to tune in. That's huge. I love that he's saying that. And he talks about the fact that they're going to also help promote us as well, you know, which obviously ESPN never did with the PFL. Understandably so. I mean, I'm not sure even how the dynamics of all that came to be with the PFL. I've heard different stories about how they both ended up on ESPN, but you know the UFC couldn't have been very happy about that. And, you know, ESPN never really did much to promote the PFL. So I love what he's saying, man. I really do. The more I hear from the guy, I really think he's a guy with, you know, a good head on his shoulders and a good leader of the organization. And they got a lot going on. Right? Not only, we were talking about earlier today, not only do they have this event, they've got Europe coming back. They've got Africa coming back as well. Like they've got
Africa's the same day, I think, in the morning, right? Isn't Africa show the same day in the morning?
I think it's one day off. I could be wrong.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. Okay.
Yeah, it's Friday. So they've got like 3 events in a week, which I just want to say, one, kudos to them for the ambition. I will still say this. I'm going to keep saying this until the end. I love the fact that they're delivering. Yeah, ambition, bro. So that'll lead me to the rest of it. So we'll start with the ambition because I love the fact that they're delivering these international events in prime time. To me, I honestly think that's the best part of their business right now is giving these international markets events in prime time. But yes, on the flip side of that ambition, bro, they're not a big company, man. And so operationally, like it was. Remember when the UFC was splitting their staff and doing like 2 events in the same day on different continents? It was hard for the UFC. So for the PFL and a much smaller staff to do it on 3 continents in a week, not easy to do.
Do you remember when they did the UFC in Brasilia and then they had the show the same night, I think in Germany, or they had it here in the States? Like one was in Brasilia and then later that night or next.
I'm pretty sure it was in Germany because I was actually at the Brazil show. I was at the Brazil show.
Yeah. Alejandro Gutierrez, man. Thanks again, man. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. So, hey, man, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. This guy's always coming through for us, man. He's been a long-time listener for 10 years now. You know, somewhere around there. But Gutierrez is Alejandro Gutierrez, man. I know that's not what his call sign says there, but that's his real name.
So you're just outing him right there.
You're just outing him, bro. Outing him. So he's a good dude, though. I've sent him off. I think he's received a couple gift boxes of Element from me. So. But he's obviously a great person, man. I've enjoyed our conversations. Awesome. Look, it's very difficult to do shows. I remember we did Bellator. I want to say we did like Friday night in Paris and then the next night in London. And it's just you got to get on the train that next day. And like they've already got stuff set up over there. Your production crew's running in. Your fighters are already there. You're trying to run. You got your splitting your staff. It's a pain in the ass, man. It's a pain in the ass.
It's not. And then positivity. But the bad thing for the PFL is you're essentially competing against yourself for attention too. You know what I mean? You're already struggling to make sure you get enough headlines and get enough storylines out there. And there's just only so much oxygen. And granted, the global organizations are really kind of the feeder leagues. They're the strike force challengers, if you will, of getting people in. So they don't need to get as much attention and headlines and that. They'll kind of get their own. But it's just a challenge. So that'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward next year as well. Because again, I think it's an amazing part of their business because the UFC can't be in all these markets. They won't be there. And again, it's these weird times. So if you can deliver, you know, in prime time in these markets, I think it's brilliant. But weeks like this, they got to be really cautious with this because it's tough.
No, I agree. I really believe the UFC is kind of they're missing out on this by doing so many shows at the Apex. I really believe not going to these smaller towns, giving the fans an opportunity to bring their kids and build the younger generation of fans. I think it's really killing the sport. These kids don't like if I talk to my son, he knows I'm a former fighter, didn't find out till he was like 8 or 9, but he just doesn't care about fight. Like he came in the other night, I was watching fights last weekend. He's like, all right, so what are they trying to do? What's going on? Who's winning? Like, okay, oh, that guy got hit. And like he just no concept of what's going on. And the younger kids, he's 11. Like, and I'm a former fighter. Can't imagine like the casual dad right at home trying to talk his kid into the fights. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't think we're building up the younger generation to become true fans.
It's so funny you say that. So my son is 13 and he trains jiu-jitsu, but doesn't really watch MMA. And I thought maybe that was just a thing of like, well, dad's whole life is around the sport.
Yeah.
Like I go in his office and all I see is this memorabilia and he's always doing podcasts and whatever else. And so like, I'm just rebelling and doing something different because I don't want to do exactly what my dad did. But now to hear your son is in the exact same. But you bring up a great point. And listen, I'm one of the few defenders of the Apex in the media for a couple of reasons. One is pretty selfish. It's like 10 minutes from my house. And so I love the fact that,
selfish.
Yeah, it's selfish. So I'm like, hey, you shut up. Let's do Apex shows because I can drive there and drive home. But I will say that people that have been to shows live, it is a pretty cool experience to go in it. Now, of course, the pandemic was one thing. It was necessary. But even now, if you go in there, especially if they've added seats, it's cool. Like you're right up on the action. You're never going to sit that close to the UFC event. You hear the coaches, you hear the shots. It's cool. But you do hit on something big there, man. Like when they would go to these markets that they only go to every now and then, every 5 years or whatever, and somebody gets that opportunity because the UFC live event is the best live event in the business. There's no question. And the first time, that you go to one and AL3's playing jams throughout the night and the lighting's on point and they're keeping the pace going. And like you walk away going, oh yeah, that is my jam right there. And so it is unfortunate if you don't get people that live event experience where they can go like, okay, that's what I like doing.
Yeah, and that's where I think with the PFL, right? They don't need huge venues. If you do 5,000-6,000 seat venues, you want to sell tickets on a Thursday night. I think, look, let's not pretend like they're selling out arenas anyways. So what's the point of booking 18,000 seat arenas when you're always selling, 8,000 seats, if that, to be honest. Let's just be honest. If they were to sell 10,000, I'd be surprised. Maybe in Paris, because Paris has got a really big. Paris has come through lately for some big shows.
Huge.
At the Accor Arena there, man, I think it seats 9,800, and they do a great job of packing that out every single time. And it's a great venue, man. Like it's walkable for the train, everything like that. So I understand like certain markets, you can go ahead and do a bigger arena, but there's no reason for you to, and just start building up fan bases for the younger generation. I think is key. But I will touch on this real quick. Is my daughter is the opposite of my son. Papa, can you hold pads for me? Come on. She's out there hitting it. She's 7. She's 7 years old. She wants to crack the pads. She's always like, okay, hold for a kick. She's tiny. She's, but still, it's just great to see. Great to see. At least I have one of them that's down to go ahead and throw down.
Does she watch fights at all?
She'll watch. Yeah, she just likes to be around me during that time. Like when I'm laying down watching fights and stuff, she'll come cuddle up with me and she'll watch. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I did one time. I was in here doing some testing for my real estate license, and she was just watching the female fights. She looked it up on YouTube and she's watching just girls get after it. I was like, holy shit. Awesome. She sat there patiently just watching it. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
It's crazy. We're only thinking about like 10 years of women at the highest level in the UFC, man. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like it's wild.
It reminds me of the Frank Shamrock era is kind of where I feel like they're at right now. And they're better than I think the Frank Shamrock era. They're just past it, I think, kind of in that. They might even be approaching kind of like my era, like that era of, they're a lot of fighters are that kind of like that George St. Pierre of good wrestlers, good takedown defense, good striking, not really great in any one area. You've got the Tatiana Suarez and stuff like that, but none of them are really specialized in being like a world-class wrestler or world-class kickboxer, right? So I don't know.
Frank Shamrock, by the way. Frank Shamrock headlined the very first UFC I ever attended. Frank Shamrock, Igor Zinoviev was.
That was the very first one you ever worked?
Yeah, UFC 16, first one I ever attended. I went just as I was like 20 years old as a fan. Pat Miletich was on the card as well, but yeah, Frank Shamrock.
That whole thing was quick.
Yes, it was.
It was quick.
Quickness.
Yeah, the big pickup and slam. Who was the co-main on that?
I think Jerry Bolander and Kevin Jackson probably. No. TK and Chemo, maybe, I believe.
Okay.
Was the co-main. Yeah, because Jerry Bolander and Kevin Jackson, I think, was in a tournament. It was wild. Long time ago.
Yeah. Alejandro Gutierrez, he's back. Thanks for the $5 super chat. John, what is the most memorable interview you have ever done? Which fighter do you see on the rise or the future star?
That's great, man. Well, man, I'm sure you talked about it in your recaps this past week, but Ethan Ewing, this kid last week, man, that's the newest guy on my list.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about like the Kevin Vijay host. That's the newest guy on my list, man. Just not only does he look good and taking out undefeated opponents, you know, right in a row, but the style in which he does it, like the slickness in the pocket, man, and the way he strikes, it's just fun to watch. So, man, I think the talent is higher, right? I know we are all talking about we need stars and the UFC needs stars, but the talent has never been better than it is right now. So I think there's a lot of rising names that if you're not watching the prelims and not paying attention to, man, you're missing out because there's some real talent on the horizon. As far as the most memorable interview I've ever done, man, a couple interviews with John Jones over the years. First, I interviewed John Jones before his UFC debut. I'd been told like this guy's going to be somebody. I watched his tape and I was like, yeah, he is. And I interviewed him. And this was back in the days before like, you know, Skype and all the recording and whatever. Now you would like use little video or little recording devices and hook up your phone and all that stuff. Anyway, it corrupted. And so I actually had to call it. Like I felt bad because like the file was unusable. And so I called him back and I was like, dude, I know this sucks, but like, is there any way we can do the interview again? Because I don't want to like just guess our quotes and try to get them right. And he did the interview again. I thought that was cool. That stuck with me. And then, you know, obviously his career came up what it was.
That's
Andre Arlovski,
cool.
yeah, really cool, man. Andre Arlovski over the years gave me some great interviews, and really, it's those guys that you cover for like 20 years that you can't help. Cowboy was my guy. Like I love talking to Cowboy. I honestly, and maybe it was others, but Cowboy was the first guy I ever remember talking to me in interviews about like being scared. You know what I mean? Because like for me as a journalist and watching all the badass fighters that were going out there in the UFC, I just thought like everybody was like superhuman, you know, like we don't give a damn, bro. We just go out there and we throw down because that's what we do.
Bro, it's all facade, dude. It's all facade.
And he was the first one I remember early on just being like, bro, I'm puking in the back. And I'm going like, what the hell am I? And I just remember like that changed my mindset to the game so much. And it actually made me respect fighters even more of realizing, no. They're not made of something that you're not made of. They don't have that same brain material that you don't have. They just decide, fuck it. I'm getting over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go do that anyway. I'm going to face these fears and I'm going to take it on. And so some great interviews with him over the years. Conor McGregor over the years. Obviously, the early Conor McGregor days were amazing. I was it was a different cat when he was earlier. Now he's just, it seems like he's old and bitter. I was in the bar in Brazil when he was like throwing darts at the Jose Aldo sign. You remember that? And then like taking shots in there with the shirt off of fans. I was like 3 feet away in the bar, like doing interviews there. So man, I've had some fun ones over the years for sure. Yeah, a quick little story. I don't know if you ever heard this one, but Andre Arlovski came to AKA to train, and him and DC were training partners for this. And and DC was just fucking throwing him around like a rag doll. And Cain Velasquez obviously was throwing him around like a rag doll. But it was just funny because one time they went out to lunch, and and DC picks up the tab, and he throws down. And I think the bill was like $28 or $38. I think it was like $28 for the two of them to eat. He throws down 100. And the waitress comes and brings it. DC gets up and, I think he goes to the bathroom or something like that. And he comes back. He's like, hey, I'm waiting for my change. And he's like, oh, you just keep it. You keep the change. So Arlovski tells the waitress, keep the change. So DC comes back from the bathroom. He's like, hey, where's my change? He's like, oh, I just gave it. It's tip. He's like, no, I gave her a $100 bill. I'm not giving her a $70 tip or a, $70 tip for, what are you talking? So DC's ass goes up and asks for the money back. Bro, I was like, bro. That's you gotta let it go at that point. You just gotta let it go at that point. That's Arlovski just got you. Arlovski got you, bro. Andre Arlovski he is a character, man. Prankster. Such a character. Prankster. He's another one too, because I covered his early career, and then, he drifted off and came back. In his early career, like, he was very intimidating and like kind of off-putting, and that's and then when he came back, like, the teddy bear side of him kind of opened up, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's a character, man. Like, he was always so nice to me, off camera especially, but even on camera. I love Andre Arlovski. That is hilarious. And DC, bro, you got to just let it go at that point. Like, you just got
So
got.
good.
You know what I mean? You just got to be like, never again. I'll never let that happen again.
Bro, she brought the thing. He's like, just keep it. It's okay. It's okay. It's tip. And oh man, DZ come out. Where's my money? Oh, I gave a tip. No, you didn't. You didn't give my money. It was great. It was great. All right, look, let's talk about the PFL real quick, and let's talk about, you've got Sergio Pettis fighting Mitchell McKee. What's your take on this fight? Sergio Pettis obviously is a stud, an absolute stud. But you had Patchy Mix, who was the champion, who vacated, and now this is for the vacant title, I believe. Correct?
Did they put the title? They didn't put the belt on. Did they put the belt on the line for this one?
It doesn't say title, but I mean, like, it would be. Wouldn't it be him?
It's not title fight.
I was gonna say, I didn't think they did. I thought this was just the main event. That would shock me if it was. Okay, good.
So is it just a vacant 135-pound title, or is there a champion there?
Bro, I've lost track of where all the titles are at this point. I mean,
yeah, because they keep changing. And if they go back to Bellator, we're gonna go back into change. And if they go to another promotion, if they change the name because they're talking about rebranding, I was on the bandwagon with them going back to Bellator, but after a careful consideration in my mind, Jonathan Martin is doing a good job, and they now are crowning champions for the PFL.
Right.
Stay the course. Like this, the only reason why I believe that they're potentially trying to change the name is whoever they're negotiating with or talking to in TV rights deal is like, we need a name change. We don't want a 3-letter organization. We don't want it to be confused with the UFC, and not that it would ever would be, but we want something different. We want it to stand out. We want it to be something, or maybe they liked Bellator name better. And like, hey, we have all the footage, we have this. But whatever TV organization, whatever TV rights company they're in negotiation with, that's the only reason. A guy like Jonathan Martin doesn't bring that up to the table.
Agreed.
Unless something has been talked to or has been said to him about, hey, what are we doing with the name? What's going on with the name?
It's interesting because even before you and I started talking about it, I had heard some rumblings that the Bellator name was potentially back in play and that they was potentially going to do something with it. And the only thing that made sense logically to me was kind of all the old footage and the fact that, you're putting highlights together and you can't put, Bellator stuff into PFL highlight reel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if the Bellator name carries that much more weight than PFL does. Although I could just say, hey, we want a fresh start. We want a fresh start. We don't want to make it seem like we're bringing something else over. But, I'll be interested to see what they do with it. I was a little bit surprised because at first it was funny. I think when people first started joking, when he mentioned that and people first started joking, like, call it Bellator. And I was like, actually, that really could make some sense. And then people started pushing back and it was like, no, I was just kidding. Do not call it Bellator. Do not call it Bellator. So we'll see. But the title situation's got to get figured out. I don't think there is a bantamweight champ right now, but I don't think this is for the title either. But who knows? Because they got tournaments and then they got nationals and then they got this. They got to get that figured out. This fight is a little weird for sure. But Mitch McKee he's a stud, man. This dude is very capable of performing here against Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis is an absolute stud. His career has been incredible. I know he had a couple of setbacks, but those were against some legends. I know Patchy's had a stumble since. We've seen what Horiguchi is capable of. Unbelievable. I like Sergio Pettis in this fight, but this is one of those ones that's dangerous, right? Because this is one of those fights that if you win, everybody just looks at you and says, well, yeah, of course you won. You're supposed to win like you were fighting a nobody. And if you lose against somebody that has shown some danger on the way up, that could be, I don't want to say devastating for you, but it could be a huge setback for you.
It goes into the "you were never that good" comments, and that's typical from MMA fans. Is fraud check, or it's one of those situations. When you were never that good, and but Pettis has been dealing with this his whole career. Oh, it's your brother. It's this guy's been trying his hardest, and he's had some great fights, but he's been trying his hardest to get out of his brother's shadow. I think he's done it. I think he's doing a great job. He's a fantastic fighter. His win over Patricio Pitbull, I think, really kind of that put me on a level of being like, damn, this dude is like he's legit. And I know Patricio was coming down, killing himself to get to 35, made the weight. Respect to him because that's a huge cut. I get it. But in this situation, man, he just out kickboxed him, outclassed him, did everything. And I was very impressed with the way that he was able to do it to Patricio Pitbull. And I was like, dude, this is huge. I didn't think he had a chance, to be honest. I remember calling that fight, talking about that fight, going, Patricio's going to either submit him, Patricio could take him down at will, Patricio going to be able to get the arm and guillotine, Patricio going to be able to just outmuscle him, and all those things. Never was there a moment that was an opportunity for him to happen. Pettis dominated that fight from beginning to end. So
the good news,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say the good news I think about this is that like because we don't even know what the organization is going to look like and what the format's going to be, like you can't slip too far back. You know what I mean?
No.
But but you still want to win. You know what I mean? You want to win against guys like this because Sergio, you're right. I don't think he's always gotten the respect that he deserves. This would be a shame for him to get a setback in a spot like this.
Yeah. Yeah. John, I'm going to leave this question up for you because this is probably something because you spent more time in the post-fight interviews. It says, tell me when Khabib caused major damage. I've never seen him leave opponents looking different post-fight. He excels at suffocating chain wrestling, not heavy ground damage. Accept it. No bias. Do you want to answer that or do you want me to answer? Why don't you go ahead and chime in a little bit?
I
Go
mean,
ahead, John.
Connor didn't look too great after the fight. You know what I mean? But not like I understand what you're saying. Like you're right. I mean, did people walk out of there with, life-changing facial structures and, never competed the same? Like, no, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but they also, you could see the fear of God when the chokes got locked into them and the control and just the breaking. I mean, the absolutely mental breaking of people. When you can see on people's face, they don't want to be in there anymore. Like there's just nothing they can do about it. So, if you want to say that only is what qualifies as suffocating chain wrestling and that, he wasn't slicing people up and dicing people up, okay, I'll do that. But to pretend like there wasn't damage done in any fight that he was ever a part of, I think that's a little bit ingenuine.
Yeah, people are always going to shit on him. Ultimately, look, the domination, and Big John and I talked about this a lot, is there was never a more dominant fighter in the UFC. Dominant. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that he's the best fighter. John Jones, I think, is right there. GSP is right there. Those two, you can interchange them however you want. But no one ever dominated their competition the way that Khabib did. Nobody. Doesn't matter what you say. Like, John had moments where the fights were close. That's not, like the Dominic Reyes and all those fights. But I'm going to go through this. Conor McGregor didn't look great after the fight. Edson Barboza was a fucking disaster.
Yep.
He looked like a mess after that. So I'm going to throw Edson out there as well. I mean, there was plenty of guys. Michael Johnson, do you not recall? Like, he was just stuck on bottom.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, maybe he wears damage a little bit better. I don't know. But, like, those guys. Who else was in there? Michael
Johnson. When your
Johnson,
opponent is able to beat you up and also talk to the promoter at the same time, it's not going well for you.
Talking to the promoter, talking to him, to everything. I mean, like, you can go through, I guess, remember Tavares? Let's see, Gleason Tebow, let's see, Charlemagne. But look, there's a couple guys. Look, he didn't start having really good ground and pound until right around the RDA fight. And where he was not able to really control RDA all that well as either. But I don't remember the Dan Horcher fight. I don't remember that. But TKO, damn, and they finished him, so damage, obviously. But Michael Johnson, Edson Barboza, and Conor McGregor, I would say those are probably the three where he did the most damage. And they walked out of there with some marks on their face. They walked out. But look, literally controlling another human being, another man, another male, and talking to the promoter and talking to them at the same time while I'm smashing your face. There's nothing that says I'm the alpha male more than that. Yep. Just like leg lacing you, holding you in place. And somebody had said, like, literally that could rape you at that moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, it's a very vulnerable, shitty position to be in with someone who's just a better fighter. And everyone that's ever fought him was like, damn, he wasn't physically strong. He's strong, but he's not like, oh my God, I just can't handle it. Just the control. And then when he hits you, it's like because you can't move, you're taking the full brunt of the shot. And that's what sucks about it. Nothing you can do to stop it. Nothing. And I was on the receiving end of that in practice all the time with small gloves, with 16-ounce gloves, it didn't matter. It still sucked. It still sucks. So a very dominant champion. I think he's the most dominant fighter that ever stepped foot in the cage. Dominant.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the GOAT. I'm not saying that. Just the most dominant.
Completely agree with that. I mean, obviously, like you think of like the signature leg ride that's now become such a huge part of ground control that he was really just so damn good at. You know what I mean? And it was absolutely
I was one of the first guys. I was one of the first guys that did that. But he just took it to another level. Perfected it. Fucking guy. Still in all my moves. That bro, he did it to me at the gym, and I hated it, man. I absolutely hated it.
So good. You know, it's interesting when you start talking about GOAT talk, right? Because I wish he would have stuck around for some more title defenses and really kind of extended that legacy. But we all know the circumstances that were around that, and you have to respect the man that made a promise to his family. But a dominant run, man. It's just, man. If you weren't living it, it was wild to see, man.
I'm going to go ahead. Jordan Newman versus Joshua Silveira. Look, I actually just had Joshua Silveira on the pod and chatted with him, had a great conversation with him. And I also talked to Biagio Walsh as well, Muhammad Ali's son. Dave, did that drop yesterday?
No, it's actually going to drop on Thursday.
Okay, so we're going to drop that on Thursday coming up. So those 2 interviews will drop. They'll drop in one show, so you guys can check that out on Thursday, just like Podcast Dave said. But nice. Jordan Newman, undefeated 8-0, is a dog. Somebody who just fights through adversity, good wrestler, got good hands. He can do a little bit of everything. Joshua Silveira, obviously family and lineage in the sport. His dad being Conan Silveira. I mean, Joshua also, too, wrestled at ASU. Stud wrestler. Very good in the wrestling category, but also is very good on the ground because of his dad and his family background. But the guy loves to stand and bang. He had one of the most entertaining fights, fighting multiple times. But when he fought Impa Kasanganai at the Hollywood Hard Rock in Florida, great fight. This is going to be a great fight. The two of them, I'm looking forward to this fight because they're both, I think, going to end up standing. I think Silveira's going to try to wrestle a bit more. Newman's going to try to sprawl and brawl. I think we're going to have a fun fight.
Yeah, I agree. And again, this is another matchup where Josh Silveira's had some setbacks, but against the very elite level competition, he's got the more experience. As you said, the lineage is unprecedented, and it's pretty cool there.
Kid grew up in the gym.
I mean, just on the mats with studs from day one. You know what I mean? But Newman is this to me is a very, very close fight. And I like look. I like what the PFL is doing here. Like, give these kind of new names, these undefeated guys, like, get them in the mix, man. If they're not going through tournaments, like, let's just go ahead and throw them in there and let's get them these opportunities and let's kind of see what happens and shake things up. And maybe we get some new names. Maybe we get some fresh names that aren't, these established tournament winners and that sort of thing, but just some fresh names in the mix that we can build off of. Because, again, it does feel very much like a transitionary year for the PFL, but they can't just let go when it's happening and just say like, well, we'll get to everything next year. Everything will be fine once we get to the new destination. You still got to keep things going in the meantime.
Yeah, I agree. Not Jordan, but Rafael Stotts also fight. He's out of Houston here in Texas. You've got Renat Kovalov, obviously 11-0. It's Kovalov. Very tough fight for Rafael Stotts. Rafael Stotts can wrestle. He's got explosive hands. His striking, though, needs a little bit of work, but he's very dynamic on the feet. But also, too, the way he chain wrestles and puts things together. His wrestling is drastic. I think he's a Division II national champ. And he's a phenomenal wrestler. But Stotts is a fantastic fighter, man. Doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No, I like Rafael Stotts as well. I feel like he's a guy that has, for whatever reason, always been under the radar, man. I remember watching him come up on the regional scene and just saying, like, this is going to be somebody with a special career. And he's had a great career, but maybe not gotten the recognition that he deserves. This is a tough fight, man. They're not doing him any favorites here at all.
It's a tough fight for him because I think Kovalov is very tough all the way around. Good on the feet, heavy hands, but has a tendency to kind of clinch, put pressure. It's going to be a fun fight, though. Going to be a very fun fight. Yeah. I look at those top three fights. I think to myself, sure, there's other fighters on here that I'm really interested in watching. Gabriel Braga is going to have his hands full. And then you've got Araujo. How do you say her last name? Because I know it's not the way I would say it.
Araujo. Viviane Araujo.
Yeah. So she's in the versus Shayna Young, and she's a stud fighter as well. Shayna Young is, but there's also Jenna Bishop. You've got some really good fights on this card with Kana Watanabe, very good judoka. You've got Biagio Walsh. You've got fighters on here that I think are going to make for some fun fights. So make sure you guys can tune in. Try to watch them on watch one on your iPad, watch one on your regular TV. Do whatever you can to support both shows. And I think you're going to see that there's going to be some good fights in the PFL as well. Podcast Dave's got some news for us. we're going to talk this. We've got 2 stories, I think, for some news. We chatted quite a bit. So go ahead and read that for us there, Dave, because I can't see it. It's so small.
This is from Islam Makachev in response to Ilya Topuria's recent comments. He says, I'm tired of hearing made-up stories from Topuria and his team. I got the call and accepted the fight at the White House. The next day, I was told he asked for an unrealistic purse. The UFC declined, and he pulled out. That's it. Nothing more to do it. Even his manager confirmed it. Ilya, stop talking. Every interview you give tells a different story. You pull out, and you know it.
I mean, he's got kids, so he probably didn't pull out too much. But
He's got some personal insight.
And then there was also comments from Ilya today or yesterday, basically saying, I don't think it'd be good for the UFC to have this fight now while we're both kind of still in our prime. I mean, I think Islam's got 2 more fights in him, and I think he's done. He'll defend his title. I think 1 more this time, maybe 2 more, and then he'll be done. I think he's definitely open to having that fight with Ilya Topuria. And I think what's his manager's name? He's been around forever. Ilya's manager.
He's with the Cabo brothers, right?
Yeah. What's his name? Malky, right?
Malky.
Yeah, Malky, and then his brother, right? Yeah, but he said it himself. Yeah, we gave him the number, and then they ignored us. When you don't get a call back, that means your number is fucking ridiculous. That's exactly what it was. If you wanted the fight, you talked about you wanted the fight, and I'm not being a homer in this situation because you all know if you listen to this show, I'm going to ride for Islam. But if Islam has always been the guy, Habib was the same guy. I don't care. If the guy can make the weight, I'll fight him. That's been their take always. Doesn't matter. If you fight on their team, you fight whoever they call for you to fight. That's it.
Right. Yep.
If you're the champion, you have no say in who they put there in front of you. You take whoever it is as long as they make the weight. That's it.
Yep.
King Kong could fight. As long as he can make 155, I'll fight him.
Here's what's interesting to me, and this is the thing, and I think that you can definitely speak to this, is that when I see people have these conversations about who was willing to take what fight and et cetera, it's like, oh, that guy's scared of that guy. That guy's – bro, nobody is scared of nobody else out there on the roster. It's not that. Now, it's very fair to say, like, hey, it's a fight that for our career, we didn't think was worth 15. We thought was worth 30, and we're not really willing to take that risk right now because it is a step up for us. We're moving up, and so we're just thinking smartly, intelligently from a business perspective. But, that's not quite as sexy to talk about in the things. It's like, well, no, we're okay with the fight. We just thought that the value of it was a little bit more, so we didn't take it for that. But I just think number one is, he's ducking them. He's out. Throw that nonsense out the window. Guys aren't scared to fight other guys. They want to do it for the right reasons. And I think what you're saying is right. From a UFC perspective, if you knew for a fact that Ilya Topuria was going to beat Islam Makhachev in his last fight, you would make that fight in a heartbeat because it would make all the sense in the world because the guy that's walking away, he gets the shine taken off of him and you give it to the new guy. But that ain't no guarantee in that fight. You know what I mean? So Islam Makhachev can certainly win that fight. And it would be a shame for Islam, at least from a UFC business perspective, for Islam to win the fight and then walk out the door and say, hey, I'm done. I've had enough. And then now you've got this Ilya that's like, well, he's not shattered, especially if it was up at 170, it's way easier for Ilya to be like, man, I strive for greatness. I went from 45 to 55. That worked out. I said, you know what? Hell, let's do it at 72. And that didn't work out. But I'm going back to 55, and I'm going to show that I'm the best lightweight on the planet. Now, if Islam comes back down and beats him at 55, which I don't think Islam's coming back down to 55, but if he did, that would change the game a little bit, right? Because now you kind of ruin a future legacy. So there are those storylines to think about. But, yeah, I mean, that's what I heard the story was
I think
the money.
Yeah, I think Ilya – coming off of this mental roller coaster with the divorce and the family and the situation, like, I don't blame him. Look, if I'm going to take this chance, I got to get paid.
Yep.
I've got child support to pay now. Like it's
and see, now you can read between the lines when Dana said, I don't think Islam's ready to go. There's something with his hand. His hand didn't have enough money in it. His hand didn't have enough money. That was the problem with it. And you just got to read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, look, I wouldn't blame either one of them. This is a big deal. It hurts Islam if Ilya comes up and is able to beat him, comes up to 70. And it doesn't really hurt Ilya all that much, but it does kind of affect the brand. It
Yeah,
does.
it
I mean,
does.
you've been this guy who's just been invincible, knocking out legends. You know, if you come out, you don't knock him out, you get taken down and submitted in the first round like Charles Oliveira did. I mean, you end up with a problem, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it is
and
an
I don't
issue.
know how much. I don't know how much this plays into all like the UFC needs more stars or thing. That this is kind of the multi-division era, right? That was never the thing before. And
Yeah.
I kind of honestly, I like it when guys stay in their division and they just 8, 9, 10 title defenses in a row. Like that's incredible. And it doesn't ruin it doesn't ruin one of those stars. I mean, not that it should ruin somebody, but one of them's going to lose and one of them's going to take a step back. So to be honest with you, maybe it's selfish of me or whatever, or selfish of thinking about the sport, but I kind of like it when the divisions don't cross over and people just kind of stay and dominate where they are.
I'll say yes to that only based on the fact after they go through their division, I'm cool with them moving on. I'm cool with that because look, I looked at what Ilya did at 45. There's nothing left for him there. He beat Volk and he beat Max. I mean, those are the two guys that we consider to be the GOAT outside of Jose Aldo. There's no reason for him to fight anybody else. Like you beat the two guys who most people consider the GOAT. Now move up to 55. Then he beats Charles Oliveira the way he did. But he still has Armand, you know, that's there. He's got Justin Gaethje that's there. There's fighters there for him to fight that I really believe that he needs to fight. And if he gets through them, then go ahead. And I think, look, there's only 2, maybe 3. That's it. He's already got the win over Max. He's already beat Charles Oliveira. He's got Justin Gaethje, which he fights next. And he's got Armand Sarukian. That's it. I don't really care to see him fight anybody else. But the Armand fight is the one that has to be done. You have to fight that fight before you jump to fight Islam at 170. I honestly would love to see Islam's last fight be against Ilia Topuria at 170. Because win or lose, he just walks away. If I lose, cool. Or maybe we run it back if I lose. But I don't think he loses. I think he smashes Ilia. I think he smashes him. I don't even think it's close. I think he's able to take him down. I think he's able to just maul him from the top. I think he's able to just do whatever he wants to him. That's how good I think Islam is.
And I know, obviously you'll admit, hey, I'm obviously going to be an Islam homer. But given how deep 170 is, does that change at all? Or is it the historic implications of Ilia that makes it worth because there's a lot of names at 70, right? I mean, there's still, we're talking about the depth. So would you be okay with that just because with Ilia, it's the historic implications of it? And there seems to be this budding rivalry that, hey, guys, sorry, some of you guys are just going to have to wait a little bit.
No, I don't think, look, if it would have happened now for the White House, I'd be all for it. But for it to happen to International Fight Week or something like that, I don't give a shit. I look at the White House as being such a spectacle. You had to do that fight.
Yep.
And they outpriced themselves. Like they should have known better. Like, do you really want to fight on the biggest card of probably in the history of the sport and be at the White House and do this, or do you not? And Ilia Topuria's group and him, they said, no, we want to get this much money. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they're doing. Now with Islam, he's got guys he's got fish to fry in his own weight class. He's got Michael Morales. He's got Ian Gary. I was hoping he had Shavkat. That was the fight that I really wanted to see, was him and Shavkat. That was the fight I want to see. But you got Ian Gary, you've got Michael be there's other fighters to be had there too. I mean, I think he walks through Carlos Pratis. I always thought Sean Brady would have been a tough fight for him because of the wrestling and the grappling. Would have given him some problems in the grappling department. But we may have just ended up seeing a really good wrestling match with some striking on Islam's part. But everyone else below that, you got Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Joaquin Buckley, Bonfim. None of those guys I think could beat him. None of them.
Yep.
And so, but I look into, I haven't seen a big enough sample size on Michael Morales, who I think is a stud. I just don't know how good he is because we haven't seen him fight world-class competition yet. And Ian Gary, I think, is also very good. I don't think he deserves a title shot yet, though. I think Michael Morales deserves one over him being undefeated, where Ian Gary's got the one loss to Shavkat, who's not even in the rankings anymore. So crazy. I would give it to Michael Morales, and then I would have Ian Gary fight somebody else. Maybe you have him fight Jack Della Maddalena, or maybe you have him fight somebody else. I don't know who you have him fight, but I think it's got to be Michael Morales being undefeated, because if I'm Islam, I would rather fight the guy who is undefeated. That's me. I want the guy in his O. I want to take that, and now that gives me more. It adds more to my legacy than beating somebody that just lost one fight ago or 2 fights ago to a guy who's undefeated, who I wanted to fight also, Ian Shavkat. So I would rather fight the guy who's undefeated. I want to be the first guy that took his O.
You don't want to leave that next generation to be like,
No.
I would have taken, if he would have fought me, I would have taken him out. You're like, no, I beat you. And that was that.
Yeah.
And you'll never beat me. But I agree.
Yeah.
The White House would have been the spot to do it. Like, to me, the White House was the all bets are off. Whatever you want to do, you do it. You know what I mean? You just throw it together, and it doesn't matter what the rankings say.
Yeah, I agree. Dave, you got some other news for us, right? The Hamzat news? Or talk? So Hamzat's come out and he's basically said, I don't care about criticism or an activity. I make more money outside of the UFC because of who I've become. Wherever I go, people want to sponsor. They want to do different things with me, business and things like that. It's 100% true. It's 100% true. Like, I've had conversations with Habib. I've had conversations with Islam, Usman, all those guys, Umar, all of them. These guys are crushing it on the side. The fight money is almost like poor man's money. They're like, okay, I'll fight. I'll collect my small UFC check. Then I'll go back over here and I'll make all this money doing like opening businesses and having my hands and getting my percentage and all those things. They're making way more money doing other business ventures, where they're from.
It's the thing is though, Josh, is they're spot on and they're 100% accurate, but it's the part that could have just been left unsaid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think from the fan perspective, they don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? And I'm just being honest. Like, again, they're at the end of the day, you fight for money. You don't fight for the fans, right? The fans are not going to pay your mortgage. The fans are not going to put your kid through college. You know what I mean? It's the money and the things that you make outside of the sport. But when you think of Hamzat when he came in, why did everybody love Hamzat? Because like, bro, this dude will fight this week. He'll fight next week. He'll fight 2 weeks from now. He doesn't care what weight class. Like, this is my guy right here. This is an animal. And I think the biggest thing about, guys gaining popularity and gaining that superstardom is just staying in the public eye. And so from that perspective, like, anybody that's a fan that reads this and says, man, I hate to hear that. I get where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Hamzat is also 100% accurate. Like, dude, the faster you can get into this game and get out of this game and have as much money as possible and set yourself up for the next phase of life, the better off you are, because this game will take you down at some point. So I get it. I just think it's probably a statement that a lot of people didn't want to hear.
But how accurate was Dean Thomas when he said Hamzat being the champ would be super detrimental to the sport, to the UFC? He's like, this is, I don't think it's a good thing. And he's saying it out loud. Yep. I'm going to fight once a year, maybe let's just say maybe twice, which would probably be a lot for him right now. I'm going to fight the one time and I'm going to go out and make money everywhere else. How wild is that?
Dean was spot on, man. Not shockingly, Dean, obviously an expert in the sport and all aspects of it. And he was absolutely spot on about it, man. Yeah. It's a shame because Hamzat, when Hamzat is around, like, there is that energy in the building, man. When it's at the weigh-ins, when it's at the press conference, when it's at the fight, like, that dude brings the energy. It's on a different level. But you're right, we want to see it more than once a year. So, yeah, like I said, it's just the kind of part that he's spot on and he's so right. But I think from a fan perspective, you're like, Dad, did you have to say that? Could you just say, oh, I want to fight more, but the UFC is not booking me? Like, just blame the UFC or something,
Yeah, true. I mean, I want to see him fight as much as possible. We'll see what he does, but I want to see him fight as much as possible. I don't know. He's
a savage, man. He's a savage. Can't wait for the fight with Strickland. Can't wait for the fight.
Did you? I posted up. I put something in the group that there, Dave. I think it's Aiden Ross. Him and Armand Sarukian. I put it in that thread. Him and Armand Sarukian have a $50,000 bet. That Strickland, I think Aiden Ross said that Strickland's going to win. They bet $50,000. I don't know. I thought it was a funny conversation. Can you play it?
Yeah. I need to refresh it and just get the audio going.
Yeah, it's
Strickland's going to win that one.
Strickland's going to win?
Yeah. Want to bet?
Yeah. I know your budget, 50,000. 50,000.
Brother, we know who's winning that fight. Strickland. I'll call Sean right now.
Yeah,
Sean, I know you're gonna beat Hamza. I'm putting 50K on you with Armand right now.
Oh, that's great. You know, man, it's your money, dog. Go full send.
Full send.
The thing, bro, you ain't gonna miss 50K, dog. You know, you'll be all good. We'll make
You
it.
know you're gonna win?
No, bro.
You're gonna win.
Listen, motherfucker. I know I'm gonna win.
Yes.
Hey, listen, dog. I beat this GoFund training. I'll do it in a fight.
I hope you're not gonna feel good that day.
Sean gonna win.
50,000.
Sean's gonna win.
Listen, come on his fight as a catch, and me too. It's not gonna be like this. Hamza win, and then I call, wait, my money, one.
No, he's not. I'll bring the cash.
I'll bring cash, 50,000.
Yes.
Me and you.
Hamza versus.
Oh man, it's your money. That scares me right there. I know it seems very stupid, but I think as fighters, the first thing out of his mouth should have been like, fucking go ahead, let's do it. And that was not the first thing out of his mouth. It was your money. You do what you want. I was like, oh,
That's funny. Yeah, he should have been like, bro, you should double that bet, bro. Take the house down.
This is a very interesting fight because obviously they've trained together, and a lot of the stories that were told to me was that Hamza had his way with him. But let's be honest, Strickland's one of those guys that he's not the easiest guy to take down, and he's definitely one of the hardest guys to hold down. And so I think he does pose a threat, especially as the fight goes longer and longer, because the ability to get up off the bottom, Strickland has, whereas DDP didn't have that. Right. And I think as the fight goes into the third, fourth, fifth round, will Hamza, because if you go back and you watch the DDP fight where he dominated the whole fight from the top position, the crucifix position, whatever it was never in a moment where like he had to actually fight really hard. He got the takedowns, dominated and controlled, and just kept position. Still very difficult. But in that fifth round, he got hit with some shots. He looked a little weathered. He looked a little tired in that fifth round against DDP, who got dominated the whole fight. Strickland will be there in round 4 and 5. You know, unless he gets submitted, which I don't see that happening. Could be wrong. But I think that Sean is going to give it a lot tougher fight than most people are giving credit for.
I imagine their training probably looked a whole lot like we think the fighter looked like. Like, yeah, Hamzat actually had his way with him early. And then Sean later in the practice was like, come on, man, get up. You quit. Yeah. You don't want to go another round. Like, oh, no, I'm sitting out this round. Oh, you're sitting out this round. No, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, I bet it's something like that. So, yeah, I'm intrigued by it. And obviously that fight week is just going to be absolutely insane. Like, all the talk of the way this year has started, like, oh, the UFC, there's just nothing interesting about it anymore. Yeah. I don't even want to watch it anymore. Like that week, you'll be watching, bro. Tune in May 9th. You're going to be watching that week. I promise you.
Absolutely. Do you ever like visit the like the Extreme Couture and Syndicate and walk through and just kind of see how training is? And do you do that a lot or no?
Not as often as I'd like to. I wish I had time to do it more. But yeah, I mean, my kid has actually spent time training at each of them. And then I used to drop into pro practices here and there. But honestly, I'd like to do it a lot more. Obviously, work calls a lot, but I'd like to do it a lot more because I enjoy being there. Interesting.
Dave, you got anything else for us?
Yeah, let's just get a quick comment on this one, and then we can wrap this thing up.
Let's go, Roth Wrestling. This is going to be May 30th here in Dallas. It'll actually be in Arlington, not Dallas. I think people think they're the same thing. They're not.
It's true. They definitely do.
They're not. You know, you're from this area. You know this. Yep. They're not the same, by the way. But yeah, it is. It's in Arlington, and I'm looking forward to. I actually will be going to this. And it's Colby Covington versus Chris Weidman. I love it. I think Colby's probably the better wrestler, but Chris is a fantastic wrestler as well. Chris is also older, a little bit more weathered, but I think he's also should be physically a little bit bigger. But I think I'm gonna lean towards Colby, but I would not be surprised if Chris gets the win.
Completely agree. I like this matchup a lot more. And again, I'll continue to say I just love what they're doing at Real American Freestyle, man. I love the product they're putting on. I love that, you know, they're keeping these athletes busy, a chance to make money outside of their UFC fights. And for Weidman, even his post-career, I think they've got a great looking product. So I love what they're doing. I love to see the success they're having. I've become a big fan of wrestling over the past couple of years. At CFSC, we did some collegiate wrestling on UFC Fight Pass, and it was my first chance to really spend a lot of time around it up close, and I'm a fan now. So dig what they're doing, and I agree with your assessment. I think Colby's the more, you know, accomplished wrestler and obviously kind of more in his prime days, even though he's towards the tail end as well. So I'd probably favor him in that matchup, but Weidman is never out of it.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to wrap it up. We gave you guys 2 hours. We're literally 1 minute away from 2 hours straight, man. I don't care what my wife says. I can go a long time. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much. Use that link down below for LMNT if you guys want to try their new pineapple and their new pink lemonade. Also, on top of that, I want to thank you guys so much. Hit that like and subscribe button. John Morgan will be joining me every Tuesday night for the live shows. We're having fun. I love talking fights, man. And this guy, she's like a little encyclopedia, man. Love it. Love it.
Appreciate it.
Now get down and give me that push-ups. All right, guys. Hey, also go to wewantpicks.com/offer. Wewantpicks.com/offer. Use the promo code ANDSTILL. And hey, guys, it's an AI that generates all the analytics for you guys. It does not give you guys who to bet on. It just gives you all the information you need to figure it out for yourself. Gives you all the knowledge you might need to go ahead and figure out your best bets you can make with those. Okay, significant strikes, most takedowns in a round, all those things. Gives you all that, and it helps you make your decision wisely. So, hey guys, we are out of here. John Morgan, Josh Thomson, the Weigh In Podcast, Tuesday nights lives. Don't miss it. We'll see you guys next time, man.